Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the community stream here as we jump over to the North American region for Challengers Elite. We're in the knockout phase, and there are four very strong teams that are going to be duking it out to see who can be the final two overall that make it into playoffs. My hold shift with me proper again. A lot of interesting action happening over in Europe, although I think by the end of it, the two teams that qualified looked the stronger on the day. I think that's probably going to be what determines our two teams of the four that we have here as well for North America. Whoever comes out the gate looking clean and polished, likely going to enjoy themselves a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely right. We were talking about this before we actually went live with the entire stream, and that exact phrase was thrown around quite a bit. And this is what's most interesting because you did have a week off since these last teams were seen competing throughout Elite Stage round robin play. So it really comes down to see what they've been able to do, what they can learn, because we're still dealing with a lot of rosters, at least still in this knockout bracket, that are still getting comfortable with their new teammates.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Western, which is still feeling like a pretty brand new squad overall. This is one of the teams we'll be taking a look at as they'll be going up against the New York Subliners Academy. And for NYSL Academy, they looked great throughout the tail end of the cup that we were able to see through COD Zone Media. Shout out those guys over there. They played fantastically and against Fantastic Four, no pun intended, but it was appropriate to bring it out, so might as well. That's kind of where I want to take the conversation, not just on the fact that NYSL gets a chance to square up against Wester here, but waiting in the playoffs are Easter and Fantastic Four, both teams going 6-1 throughout the group stage.
Yeah, so I mean, you're feeling pretty good if you are Subliners Academy going in and being able to at least get the revenge from not only the previous cup, but at least looking at them versus Fantastic Four. Now they're finally, I think, what is now 1-2 in the overall head-to-head for them, at least in previous weeks when Hydra did come on board. But yeah, starting to look a little nasty, and I think that's what's most scary when you're thinking about this Western roster in this this head-to-head, regardless of the maps that we are starting out on, Garrison, Hardpoint. But it's the pace of what we are seeing. Again, the QBZ is now out, but put any weapons in the hand for Hydra, who's been learning out this AR flex. They're deadly. 3 SMGs, maybe, could be the potential. We saw the MP5 come out in EU to such a high degree from Genesis. I don't know. A lot of teams could be trying out a lot of different things.
Indeed. First instance of the lobby will actually result in a draw. So we'll have a chance now to actually look at the 5 maps that we have available to us here for this best of 5. Again, loser still has a second life. That's the really important thing overall when it comes down to, hey, you've got to win 2 to get in, but you've got the extra lifeline. It's double elimination, GSL style, kind of like the thing that we had from last year overall. So looking at our maps, you mentioned it, Garrison will be the first hard point overall. You feel like that has to be an NYSL Academy pick, considering that they've really kind of cut their teeth through the group stage on that specifically. And then we're going to go to Moscow Search and Destroy for map number 2. That will actually feel pretty favorable, I would have to imagine, for a team like Wester. Up until they were making roster swaps, their Search and Destroy was by far their best overall game mode, and one of their best maps in that game mode was Moscow. So our opening 2 maps, pretty clean stuff for both of our teams, we would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at for the hardpoint 3 and 7 for Wester coming in towards this, apart from their round robin play, Subliners Academy are 6 and 6 for hardpoint, 3 and 1 on Garrison hardpoint. And you talk what you will about just the meta shift and how they look through week number 1 of group play. This is what it really comes down to. 74Us and Crig 6s alike. What are they going to look like versus a team like Wester?
And how about it? You've also got Hydra running this double Crig alongside Spart. So it will be a double AR, double SMG setup. No 3 SMGs, at least not yet, but you also have to keep that in the back of the mind that you have to feel like either Spart nor Hydra could just jump onto an SMG and do just fine with it. But the opening exchange favoring our team in yellow, and that's good news for New York fans everywhere, as though they will be broken for a bit of time early on. They're still very comfortable when it comes to locking down the left side of the minimap, which will give them initial setups for the second hardpoint.
Does Haggy have a Milano?
Or sure look that way.
Yeah, okay. So that's a little bit of a different
there it
change of pace. Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm here for it. I saw a lot of talk about this when I was watching Aids and other streams last night. I mean, this was absolutely beaming. A lot of this was being played out, but the real question is how will it fare in a formal match? Nice little fight for the back 5 seconds, but the question comes down for this rotation. How are you going to deal with players like number 7? That's Hydra up in top green, as Subliners are looking to threaten this rotation to get the early setup of P2.
Interesting conversation point. One of the things we really noted on in the last week for the Subliners was the simple fact that Spart, yeah, he's running a second AR and was the QBZ before it was just recently GA'd, but he was running it with attack and flak, so there was no optic on the weapon. He's running that same style here with the Crig. We'll see if he can find value with it. So far, you would assume, yes, he absolutely is, seeing that he's 7 and 3, and the first 30 seconds of the second hardpoint has been very comfortably locked down by the Subliners Academy.
Oh, I mean, just absolutely snapping and just finessing all the way through the map. This was almost made for a player like Spart, who just always runs and guns. It helps out Subliners Academy to a certain degree, but Wester's finally able to fight back for this back 20. This is good time for them, not unless Saints finds a nasty 2-piece for the back scrap. But the real question is this rotation. Look at players number 1 and 3. Both Parasite and Zaptius, they're already back here on this generator. ProLoot will respect this and wait for some help before they try to push all the way through.
Subliners will have the numbers here first, but number 4, Hamza, he's already made his way through ammunition, so he can actually reinforce this. Now, there's a bit of a pinch. Tempest coming from behind. This is a great setup overall for Wester. Hammy's going to move his way forward for 1. Hydra trying to lock things down by himself, but gets cut apart. Spart from the middle of the map will find himself in a single elimination with Saints, but it will not be enough for a break, let alone a spawn block. So that will mean that Wester, they will get the spawns up, they will reinforce, and they'll have a second chance to kind of push back this initial attempt from the NYSL Academy. And it looks like so far so good. They go 4 for 1, a full wipe in the feed, and Wester, they will grow their lead with 25 seconds to play.
Now Hydra tried to make a heroic play out from the 10-10 happen, but Hamza was able to take them down. And every single attempt to try to get inside P3 unsuccessful to upset those spawns. And Wester now building this 30-point lead. Saints looking to upset this from the front. Zap will win that gunfight. So securing the back 10 and feeling pretty darn comfortable going in towards this P4. But look at this setup. A lot of teams are becoming so much better at holding this hill. And you got to think with Spark just trying to zone away from Dark, this is going to struggle or make Wester struggle and try to break through the middle of the map.
They will find at least some sort of an opportunity as both Temp and Parasite are giving it a go. Temp falling, Parasite taken down low. Hydra was thinking about the challenge, but thought about it again and said, no, I'm good. I'll just grab the hard point time for now. Prolude working with Saints towards the backside of Dark Alley. A very important exit point for Wester to come through, and they're not finding an exit whatsoever. Saints has found a couple. Zap trying to stay alive, drops, and Parasite couldn't do much more beyond it. A near flawless first 30 seconds for Subliners Academy, but careful. There is a situation here where Wester are spawning a bit unexpectedly over towards the second hard point, so maybe an opportunity for them to overwhelm to the middle of the map, and that will indeed occur. The break is good, it's clean, and there's still 20 seconds to fight for with the Subliners spawning behind the third hard point.
And that's a wonderful point to bring up. Now the spawn trap is quite literally on the opposite side. Now what can Wester do with these power positions to try to keep NYSL trapped inside of Dark? This will be good communication. You can see the small talk absolutely beaming on through. Parasite's going to try to go for the trade, but 2 quick kills come through from Subliners Academy. Now they can flow through the middle of the map, get some square control, and try to push Wester back inside these P5 spawns.
As we get closer and closer to these lockdown hard points, that's where the question in my mind really starts to build for the Subliners Academy. Will they be able to really get these ARs to lock things down? One of the big critiques of this roster since the addition of Hydra was who's going to run the main AR. It feels weird to put Hydra on it, but hey, he's shown that he can absolutely handle the role no problem. But on the other side of the fence here, you look back at your former teammate Hamza, he's doing the same thing for Wester. So a bit of rivalry maybe being established here, maybe more so for one than the other 4. But for Subliners Academy, the question will still persist. So far, through the first 40 seconds, very solid through the 5th hard point. Wow. They again go 3 for 1. Temp, last player left alive. Can't find even a shot really into Spark. And that will be enough for a lead swap to occur for Subliners Academy.
A nice little transition off of those flip of the spawns through P3. And that's why NYSL Academy just fly over towards P5. They do a great job of just zoning away all points of interest, of entry for Wester, rather, and just keep them all trapped. Now going inside a second set, it's pretty darn even across the board. A 14-8 for Prolude, 14-12 for Spark. And between those two, they're really heating things up and keeping Wester on their back foot. Really struggling are the SMG lineup. I mean, Zap at 9 and 13. That's very uncharacteristic to see.
Yeah, and Parasite, you got to remember, he's running that second SMG for the side of Wester, or at least he was running a third SMG, I guess I should probably say. He's able to find really not much with the Milano, as it looks to be swapped back over to a Krig. So it's going to be a double AR setup for both of our squads. Very weird to see that happen on a map like Garrison, but so far, very back and forth tug-of-war game that we've had. Wester currently in position of the first hard point, but that will be broken apart as Hydra and Sparta are able to find a lot of work around the hill itself, but Hamza will have the last lap 5 in a row, 16-10 overall for him, and the scrap time will be contested. Opportunity maybe for number 4 to find some streaks. We'll see if he can maybe do that as Zap is trying to clear the pinch, but it's up to Hamza to stay alive, down to 59 HP, gets the full regen, finds kill number 6. One more for the artillery, but Hydra shuts him down, but it still comes at a pretty steep cost as Wester have regained the lead.
Yeah, they absolutely will find a rotation over towards P2 as well. Look at them in the setup that they currently have. Though NYSL Academy, they do have those close P2 ramp spawns. You got to push through Brick and Cobble. Parasite is able to find one that's on the Pro Loop, but here comes Hydra with the sub in hand. Is able to find the opening kill, but that setup is just so strengthy. You got Hamza just on this heady, playing this tac satellite so wonderfully, and that buys more than enough time for Zap to come in for reinforcements.
Reinforcing from top green, 30 seconds to play for Wester over the 150 mark. Zap still able to find a couple of individual kills over by Tires. Parasite here to help. Good damage, but no second kill as of yet. Maybe an opportunity for the Subliners to work. Saints the first one through, gonna find nothing. Parasite holds down the trigger, finds himself a double. Was thinking about the third, but Hamza will finish it off before he could really even make the contest happen. And now all of a sudden with the scrap time, it's Wester in a great position, 173 to 127. And they have currently the lockdown for the rotation to the third hill.
Yeah, NYSL Academy, they finally pushed through P2, but Western say, thank you very much. We will spawn in towards this Jenny Hill, but NYSL Academy, this is no time to stop. They got all the regen. They have the numbers. They got to fly in to break up these spawns. There is an off-screen fight as well for the hill, but the kills are coming through. And Subliners Academy, they have fun, a full momentum, full of steam, but they haven't broken into the spawns yet, and they don't convince win the gunfight.
The last couple of players through tools drop, allowing the members that recently fell for Wester to jump on up. The only player who doesn't spawn is Hamza. And he's already done well to find one kill. It's not just the fact that he gets the elimination. He stalls the Subliners Academy for so darn long. So over the double century mark goes Wester with a couple of kills, even a tote behind that. Saints considering the challenge, but Parasite meets him before he was ready off the reload. And really, Hydra can't make too much of a play from here. Just trying to make things dicey and interesting to see if you can zone Wester away off these exits. But this has been an incredible first hard point overall as far as the map is concerned, especially for Hamza at 23 and 14.
Yeah, wonderful Garrison hardpoint coming out from Hamza, main AR for Wester, just absolutely beaming. Subliners Academy, no player over 20. You'd think that Spartan would be there eventually. They're 19 and 22. It's a healthy amount of engagements, but not enough kills to be able to be positive about it. But you remember what happened in the last P4. Wester, they pushed through dark, and they were able to flip out the spawns and flip out the map. But Subliners Academy, they pull players further back. They deal with it accordingly, and they still have 40 seconds to play for P4.
Number 7 of Hydra, watching from the bottom side of the vent, has found one elimination, stays alive through a Semtex. He will have a little bit of help from Saints. He's right next to him. Spart kind of minding traffic over the top. Whoa, big snap on the Hamza for a first kill. Hydra gets the second. You have to know that Zap is holding a corner, but no! Zap finds himself a double. How in the world does he manage that? Not even done yet, trying to find the next gunfight versus Saints, but he does get eliminated. But even still, the little bit of time that Wester find is appreciated. They're that much closer to 250, and it adds that much more weight onto the shoulders of the Subliners Academy to not just find the scrap time, but also they need to win this rotation to the 5th hard point.
Gotta get a full 60 just to almost tie the game if you're Subliners Academy. You can already see that they're trying to deal with the spawns and the trap accordingly. Hydra finds themselves a nice 3 in this life alone. It's just trying to hunt down Temp, but now it's an entire spawn flip for Wester. So now they're pushing in to spawn in for P5. Subliners Academy, they don't want to give him the space, but Wester, they can just touch the point and be a nuisance.
Prolit's able to deal with at least one. Temp from behind eventually dealt with. Now the Subliners can focus just on the front. But Parasite has already gained control over by Light. Saints trying to cut behind him, but he's cut down. 2 for 2 we go. Hydra on 5 straight. Bit of a killing spree for him. But now it's down to Wester. Finding some success, moving their way through bricks. Couple of kills again from Zap, but Spartan has stayed alive for a little bit longer than what you would normally have figured. But will it make much of a difference? Prolut is the last player that's in the middle of the map. Everything else is going to be coming from the tank side. Wester have everything locked down. Can anyone touch? No, they will not. It's going to maybe come down to one last touch for Wester, which they find with ease, and they will strike first in the series. I won't say unexpectedly, but they do it in pretty convincing fashion through the second rotation to Hills.
Well, let's put it this way, right? If we saw the QBZ, I would say it would be unexpected, but you have to expect the unexpected coming in towards this week of play, given that we are now playing without the QBZ. That is where Subliners Academy looked absolutely ferocious. Spart, without the sight on there, it just doesn't hit the same way with the Crick 6. Again, had a lot of healthy engagements, but not enough in the positive form for them to be able to take the same amount of map terrain that we saw from them in week 2 of round robin play. And Wester absolutely feasts on that. They double up together, and although they all didn't have the sexiest kill feed or KD ratio in the world, they were able to find enough to be able to always dictate the pace and always have themselves in a favorable position to influence the zone and the favored spawns to always keep Subliners Academy on their back foot.
We have to ask the question. Now that the Subliners are not able to, I won't say abuse, we'll drop the A and the B. Now that they're not able to use the QBZ.
Okay.
Do you feel like the fact that they do not have a solid, stapled, historic, career-based main AR, that this meta is really going to potentially hurt this squad when it comes to this playoff specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw what happened right there. Hydra is playing super slow. And I mean, even though like at the tail end, looking at it back about like 250 to the 182 mark, they were still the most positive player. 28 in 17, I think they did at the very end, maybe 25 and 17. It was somewhere crazy right there. But that's where your playmaker really wants to be. They come over to play in North America Challengers. You thought that they were going to come join the pro roster. So then they come and join the Subliners Academy, where you think the 3 SMGs are going to work. No, scrap it. Now we got to have them learn the AR flex. Wait a second. Spart's nasty without the scope on the QBZ. They're trapped in a never-ending loop. that Hydra is continuously learning new roles, and they can't pop off the same way that we saw in EU Challengers all the way back in the scouting series. It's a troublesome factor that subliners are dealing with.
Look, if we were just to take this moment to evaluate Hydra specifically as an individual, you would say, man, he's showcasing that he's very flexible. He's able to slay just as heavily in North America as he was in Europe. There were questions about that. But now he's sitting in a position to where him and Spart have had a conversation about who's going to run the AR flex, who's going to run the main AR. Because at a certain point, someone's going to have to step up to try to learn that role. And all things considered over the last 2 weeks, we would have to definitively say that that has been Hydra. It started with the conversation with the QBZ because Spart, like mentioned, was running the tack and flak combination. No gunslinger, gunfighter, whatever it's called. No optic on it. He's instead trying to play for the multiple, perks that you're able to pull off. So with the optic online, it looked like, okay, Hydra's going to play main AR. And with the QBZ, you've got the freedom to still play aggressively when required. There is a big hold when it comes to the QBZ conversation versus the Krieg conversation. And I think my resounding feeling about this swap up is just the fact that Hydra, who's one of the more electric SMG players in Europe's history, is now running a main AR in North America. Feels weird.
It's not a role of which you can carry in, for sure. We saw it, probably the best way that you could ever compare it. Look at Sam Octane in Modern Warfare for Seattle Surge. You can absolutely slay out as a main AR, but that's not where you want your playmaker to be. You want them to enable your playmakers, but that's not coming through for Subliners Academy. Saints, that was probably one of the weakest hardpoints that I've seen from them in a while, and you got to think that they're capitalizing on all of the feasting that Hydra was still able to do in that main AR role, that the SMGs would be able to find a little bit more presence, if not a couple more kills. It was Spart that was doing more than anything, but that's your AR flex, and again, that's just not enough to be able to overwhelm this Western roster, who again are just playing for numbers. They're just playing for any sort of advantage that they have, and it's going to be able to beat a team that's uncomfortable in their roles for sure.
Now, getting out of the New York Subliners Academy camp and jumping into Wester as we load into the Moscow Search and Destroy for map number 2, talk about just the absolute incredible adjustment that we've seen. This Wester team in week 2 did not look great. And now all of a sudden, you're able to take the first hard point versus a very good Subliners Academy team, and you're going over to one of your best map mode combinations statistically through this second challenger stage. And it will be Wester on the offense first. Temp with the OBJ. Prolute will be in the middle of the map. I don't know if he sees too much. He will at least catch Hamza through escalators, but it's Parasite long-range first blood onto Hydra. Saints also tagged by a Semtex. He finds one, stays alive. But Hamza, looking to play aggressive, will eventually get the trade, and we go into what will be a 3v2 situation in favor of Wester. But Prolute with the Semtex for one, goes with the pistol for a second. Spart cleans things up to give him credit for the assist, and the Subliners defense holds strong.
Again, it's those flashy plays. Again, here it comes from Prolute, the SMGs making the plays. Subliners Academy, this is what we saw from them from stage 1. This is what I expect to see from them in certain instances like that. Big Semtex. You also saw Spart there being able to get the last kill. They challenged that from pillars. And although you thought that Wester had complete control of the site, that was a wonderful play from Subliners just to be able to find the information, find a kill, keep their lives, and just challenge when the time was absolutely right. Now we're going to have to see how they fare on the offense. And yeah, you try to true strategy, right? Hey, just go ahead and throw it at the wall first, see if it sticks. 4-player rush towards A.
Hydra is able to check things, but there will be a flash that will read some information. Spart also tagged by a Semtex. He's not going to connect with anything off that one. Maybe do a little bit of redecorating on the windowsill, but that's about it. Speaking of redecorating, Hamza, Temp working this one together. They'll come away with a 2-for-1 exchange. Zap on the long flank. Might not even be required, and it will not. So it's one of those things that you spit on the wad, throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. Apparently it doesn't.
We'll have a pickle race. Nice little throw. Any Billy Madison fans out there know
I was just going to say that. I was thinking Billy Madison, and I was like, I think that reference might be lost on everybody but me and you, but
that's okay. We'll still laugh at it. But still, I mean, that's the play, right? So now Wester, they might have to reinforce it, you would think, but they were able to do it with just a standard setup. So now Subliners Academy, they really got to go back to the drawing board. I mean, I'm sure that they have many different setups that they could try. Wester said, hey, that looked pretty good. We're going to try that as well.
Defensively, there will be 3 Subliners members here. 2 of them playing pretty aggressively. Hydra is going to pull out the Milano. Saints good for 1. Will not find a second, but Hydra's there for his trade. +1 more.
All right.
Now it's just down to Hamza. He does get tagged up a little bit, and that will be enough for Prolute to push through Eskies to clean things up. So both of our full-fledged attacks towards A completely stifled. This time it's the Milano from Hydra.
Look, Hydra's got an SMG. Look what happens. Plays it up
Just
close.
shot.
Yeah, not a single one. It's almost like we have a main SMG fragger coming from EU on a main AR roll. It's crazy.
Weird.
I know. Wild. What a crazy universe we're living in. Yeah, pick back up your Krig Hydra, you silly animal. But Wester, know that that's not going to work either. Subliners Academy, yeah, not going to go ahead and try that a second time. But you only imagine how many pickles you can throw out a window and see which one races down to the bottom first. But now Subliners Academy, they're just playing for info. Got a nice little spread of things. Prolute's going to get a little summon over by the ace side, and Wester just waiting for the push through the middle of the map. Parasite will be that player that can shut it all down.
Parasite does give up mid-window in favor of Temp coming down Eskies. So there will be a lot of pressure for Wester defensively on this rotation through Globe. Big 1v1 could be here between Temp and Prolute. Do they know that one another is here is the question. Well, now they do. And as Parasite off screen found first blood, Temp is able to confirm the second. And my goodness, both teams' offenses have found absolutely nothing so far. And that means we'll go tied up to a piece.
Just so many defenses. And again, it's... What was that? The SMG in hands of Temp was getting aggressive through the metro side. You just leave Hamza behind just to look at that entire boulevard. It's nothing too crazy coming out from the defenses. They're just playing their angles, expecting the pushes to come all the way through. Have that natural born gift on defense for search and destroy that the offense, of course, have to make a play. We'll have to see how Wester adapt in this onward offense. And well, how about that? If it don't work the first time, let's go ahead and try it again. See if it works.
Well, you should have trophies this time around to try to conceal this play a little bit, but they're not even going to bother. It's going to come right through Eskies. All three members will be here. Hydra trying to stay alive. Needs a little bit of help, and oh boy, he's definitely getting help from his friends. Here, Prolute through the middle of the map, pinching from Eskies will walk away with 3. Ah, you got to respect the effort, but at a certain point, you have to consider the definition of insanity.
How many times do you see an SMG player where Hydra was just located at try to take that gunfight first? They favored their life before they even shot a bullet. And that little nuance right there gave enough time for Subliners Academy to collapse from pillars, just clean up on the entire AS&D site. Subliners Academy roster, I mean, they are just executing a lot of wonderful things as far as focus fire and maintaining their lives for defense, but still the struggle for offense. Here we go, Subliners. The bomb carrier of Prolute is actually that solo player over by that staircase, potentially jumping, throwing flashes just to see if they get any info. We'll now retreat that position and just join their teammates as they continue to fish for info.
The thing about this is just throwing the flash is not going to be enough.
Right.
You typically see when there's going to be a fake towards A, or you're just scouting for information, someone will just kind of jump peek that wall just to see if they can see anybody over on the statue or over by the brick heady. But this time, the Subliners will actually push forward, this time mostly coming out of mid from Eskies, but Zap wins a gunfight at about half HP, down to 4 overall. Gets the regen, and the first blood will stay secured and safe for Wester defensively, including the fact that it is the bomb carrier. Zap still thinking about a second challenge. We'll read that, yes, indeed, New York is still here.
Parasite just barely gets inside of the lobby with their life. That's a reposition. See Zap also moving across that brick heady. It's NYSL Academy. They got to make a play. They only got 20 seconds. Here comes Wester.
Yeah, this is retake. Well, it's not a retake. It's just a hold.
Right.
It's a reinforced hold is what it is. Saints only able to find a single elimination, and by God, 3-3 we go. And Zap is, oh my goodness. I mean, he flirted with disaster a couple of different times this round.
Twisted. Absolutely twisted. Moves them. So, I mean, those were the only 2 kills that they found throughout the entirety of all 6 rounds that have been played. But it's little moments like that that'll always remind you, yeah, Zap is nasty. Hamza 8-3 going in towards round number 7. If it goes the distance, we are more than halfway. We are halfway through it at this point. Still a struggle for offense. Can a bomb make it towards his site? Will it get planted? Find out next.
We haven't seen a bomb even get close to be even considered to be planted yet.
It's made it to the A site.
It has, but it's immediately dropped. This time Wester are going to bide their time, mostly to the middle of the map. It's going to be Temp and Hamza. A rename from Glowfrosty in case there are people out there wondering who is Hamza. Parasite, this is what I'm talking about. He's just going to kind of jump around, See if he can maybe find information on anybody playing on the backside through pillars or over by bricks. He did find first blood a couple of rounds prior onto Hydra. This time it's Saints who takes the challenge, cannot confirm the kill though. That is a missed opportunity for NYSL, and Wester are looking to convert off of it. They push right through Eskies. They don't just find two, they also isolate Smart. Proloot trying to stay alive, but nowhere to run to. And you talk about just missing that first gunfight, maybe makes the difference in the round overall.
Yeah, his Saints really needed to find that kill, because then you saw the immediate collapse in the best play from Haggie's POV. You had Temp immediately pushing all the way through. Players were trapped over inside of pillars and inside of lights. So it just got run over. Saints really needed to find that kill. It's a struggle, say what you will. There's no barrel, I don't care. Shots were shaky enough to not lock down that kill. And we have ourselves an offensive round win in Wester's favor. Just, again, just playing so coy, waiting for the info and then just pouncing when the time is right. That's what you want as a fundamental for Search and Destroy. But here goes Subliners Academy. I've done this in a few rounds. 4 players stacked towards A.
Zap once more over through bricks. How much does he see? Trophy system will deny any utility coming in. But Zap still wants to try to play around this. Proloot, good for first blood. Hydra able to find the second. So that's going to be some clearance over by A. But there are still 2 AR players that are here to try to lock this down. Hamza being one of them. Actually, pardon me, Parasite hasn't pulled out the AR this time. It's an SMG, and he tries to get aggressive with it, but will fall. 1v3 situation. It would also have to be the ace for Hamza. And he's about to get absolutely overwhelmed. Cannot get out of dodge. And just as immediately as we called for NYSL to make a response, they come to the table with a pretty stark one.
I feel like I almost say, if I don't say anything, it's going to be a 6-0. If we start talking about it, then it's going to continue to go back and forth. And this happens just continuously while we're casting Search and Destroy, man, I'm telling you. But I'm here for it. If you're going to showcase mid-round adaptations, what you're going to be able to do as far as dictating pace, maybe being able to get inside your opponent's heads as far as positioning is concerned, that is the level of Search and Destroy you need to be a championship team. That's what we saw, at least out of both these org names going in towards stage number 1. It's a completely different Western roster. Subliners Academy, not so much of different change, but still wonderful to see.
Proloot out of the frying pan into the fire, maybe potentially here as he got aggressive through the middle of the map, but does stay alive. I was a bit surprised. Zap had a free angle at him, but now all of a sudden Proloot has found some refuge sitting right alongside Spart by Globe. So a bit of a different look here for Subliners Academy when it comes to their defensive setup, but it's been read very nicely by Wester. On the approach over towards A, Hydra not feeling great about it will back down and actually kind of play escort to make sure Proloot is able to get over safely. So for now, the A site is open, but Wester, they're not feeling good enough to actually make a play onto the site itself. Still wanting to kind of finesse around towards the backside of bricks, and it will allow them a chance for first blood and maybe more beyond that. Because for NYSL, they have not been able to reclaim this A site in any form.
No, and they just get immediately overwhelmed. Those 2 players that Proloot saw over by that brick head, he just got annihilated. That's information for first blood. That's not exactly what you want. At least you try to go 1 for 1 in that situation, but there was just no information for those 2 players over by that brick wall, and then Parasite playing the plant your box heady. Disgusting. I get smoked in that exact angle continuously in my league play matches, but still. Fantastic to see that Wester are now on map point. Potential to go up 2-0 in this series after a wonderful Garrison hardpoint. You'll be feeling pretty good if you are Wester, but Subliners Academy on this offense. Looking to go back to the tried and true, just run straight to A. But how about Wester? They want this Metro immediately. I expect them to go straight up escalators, and that's the case.
Yeah, but look at this. There's a little bit of restraint here from NYSL. They go 1 for 1 on the engagement. They have not committed to playing over to A yet. There still is an exit, but they don't even need one. Wow. Oh, man, the one round that NYSL, they just kind of hit the brakes just a little bit. Put the car in cruise control. We're not going to go 90 down the highway. We'll just go a safe 65. And they're able to catch Wester trying to pass on the left. That'll be enough for them to be in a 3v1 situation. First time the bomb's been planted, just casually going to mention that. Hamza has a 1v3, does a lot to get some damage in, but cannot confirm the kill. And we're going to a round 11.
I like that. It takes us 10 rounds to finally see a bomb being planted. It was a 3v1, but even still, it was there. It's noted. I'll never forget about it. Yes, I will. But still, I think for Subliners Academy, going over towards the offense again for round 11, you're going to be feeling pretty confident about it. I think this is where we have seen them get the best out of their mid-map adaptations, I should say. And yep, if it ain't broke, Shift, don't fix it. Let's go straight to A. Of course, Wester will try to reinforce this with these 3 players. It's going to be interesting how this gunfight shakes up.
this time, a little bit more aggression coming through as they challenge outer bricks. That's your bomb carrier, though. So Temp with the trade. We'll put things to a 3v3, and the subliners actually have to rework that same angle at a certain point. Hamza's going to lock things down by escalators. A tough challenge, to be sure. Temp playing close, hoping that there's going to be enough help from behind so he can stay safe. Not fully committing defensively, it's going to be Parasite. He will eventually try to come through, but stays from behind, able to find one Hydra a second. Now an opportunity for Parasite to really shine, and he might just rise to the occasion as he finds the first in what was a 1v2. Now it's Spark, tries to play for the bomb plant, not gonna fool Parasite, takes the peak, wins the round 11, and Wester up 2-0 in the series.
Oh man, watch this happen one more time. Parasite just challenges that outside from Billboard, gets the kill, mostly just wanted some info, but was able to walk away with a kill, and Spark just tries to favor for the bomb play. I mean, you get the call from your teammate that at least you got some damage in. You think the challenges are going to come through, but I mean, that was just a big play coming out from Parasite, right? You wait for the regen. As soon as the regen procs, you challenge immediately, almost expecting that in the mind of Spark. What a search and destroy coming out from Wester and Subliners Academy. It goes the absolute distance, but it's going to be Wester in the lead nevertheless.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's what, 8 straight rounds of defense.
Yep.
And then almost the final 3 are all offense, essentially. Unbelievable. Unbelievable search and destroy. And, I'll say this much. One of the things that I keep going back to, and it might be a moot point at this stage, one of the big things that we kind of started to notice about NYSL early on in the Challenger season was how creative their search and destroy was on a map like Moscow Search and Destroy.
Yeah.
I feel like lately, we have not gotten that. Like, at all. It's been very one-dimensionally hit. They're not really kind of clearing the middle when they need to when it comes to trying to rotate offensively, trying to go between B and A or vice versa. And that was one of the reasons that they were punished so early on in the search and destroy from their defensive point of view from Western, because they were just locking everything down. No rotations were allowed, and it felt like Western just had the jump on them almost every single round early in the defense.
That's a great point to bring up. I remember casting over NYSL Academy when they were actually playing with Hamza. And no, I'm still not gonna tell you about that. If you still don't know who that is, then I'll keep the mystery alive. But still, I think when you're looking at for the Subliners Academy roster, is that yes, they were a little bit more creative, working through Metro, trying to play for that B push, trying to push through that cutout wall. If they can find that first blood, then you can rotate through escalators. But that was a very one-dimensional style, and they were continuously just throwing things that we're just working, right? They get that A push to finally be successful. Well, let's try it again. Oh, we got offense for round 11. Well, this worked. Let's just try it again. And you got to think that creativity's got to come back if Subliners Academy want to return to that top form of a championship caliber team.
Well, let's take a look back at this best of 5 series overall. Wester in an incredible position up early, 2-0 overall. And if we have the chance to pull those graphics up, it'd be great because we've got a checkmate control coming up next for us. And then we'll potentially have a raid hard point and a Miami search and destroy. Going into the specific of what's happening next with this checkmate control, this is an interesting conversation point because as much as I want to kind of harp on the fact that Wester didn't look necessarily great in the last couple of matches on the control, they were going through some swap ups. So now they're starting to look a lot more comfortable with this new roster. Maybe an opportunity for them to go back to what at one point in time was the brand's best game mode overall.
Yeah, it's really funny too that when I think about Western and I think about Checkmate, I'm just like, oh yeah, absolute all aces, right? Western on Checkmate, name a more iconic duo. This is not the 4P champions of Cups past when Cold War launched. You can't have that same sort of expectation. If anything, this is the core 3 from what was the 5-player roster when we first saw Western in the Modern Warfare years. So it's interesting to see what this team is able to do with the more experience. I know it's only a week, but it's still a lot of scrim time. It's still a lot of time and experience spent together, and whether or not this is going to be the 4-player roster that we expect to see from Wester throughout the entirety of the season or not, they got to get through stage 2 first. And checkmate control, even though coming in towards stage 2 overall through round robin play, it was all question marks. They were all over the place as far as what roster they were playing with. It's still their best overall. They were able to actually beat Subliners Academy 3-1 on this. Keep in mind that was with Venom instead of Temp. It's a very, very different roster for what that team looked like. The SMG presence is just not the same when you have that duo of Venom and Zap working together. And I think that's what really has to step up for me personally, whether it's Parasite picking up that Milano or it's Temp with that SMG, who's going to be able to run along with Zaptius and continuously push back this New York Subliners Academy roster. Because if we end up seeing the no-scope Krig 6, if we see the Krig 6 with a red dot come out from Hydra and a third potentially it's going to be really tough just for Western to try to squirm their way through these very long angles of checkmate.
I feel like there are questions to be asked for both sides. On the other, for the Subliners Academy, there's a lot of pressure I feel like right now onto Spartan Hydra after coming off of a okay search and destroy. I mean, there was one point in time that they were both about double negative, and then the hard point. Sure, there were some decent stat lines overall, but we talked about the fact that they just weren't able to clear the space that we're used to seeing when they're running a QBZ. So I feel like those are equal questions on both sides overall when it comes to this matchup. Now, just to kind of keep you in the loop, this is just one of two initial rounds that are currently going on. BBG is playing up against UT Crew, and an update on that matchup at the moment, built by gamers, up to 0. Both of the first two maps very close. 250, 204 on an Apocalypse Hardpoint and a 6-4 on a Raid Search and Destroy. They will be staying on Raid for the control and the potential second hardpoint if that is required. So that's kind of what's coming up. Just remember, this is the knockout bracket overall. So winners will play up against each other in the first winner qualifier matchup. That'll be happening immediately following this match overall on the main stream. The losers will be happening right here on this stream for the first elimination match. Again, it is a double elimination style bracket. So just make sure you're keeping that in the back of your mind as far as how things are going. And for both UT Crew and NYSL Academy, down 0-2. Got to find a way to hopefully get a little bit of momentum building into this series, because you don't want to come into an elimination match after being swept. That's just not going to feel good.
Yeah, no, it's really not going to be feeling good at all. I mean, even looking at the track record throughout stage 2 and round robin, regardless, the Subliners Academy roster, meta shift aside, it has been roughly about the same. I mean, they're 4-3, which is the same for Western as far as the game mode in general. But for checkmate, they have played this map mode throughout the entirety of Subliner or throughout the entirety of stage 2 round robin play a lot more often. They didn't even touch raid control. They put garrison control all of 3 times, of which they lost 1-2. So yeah, you definitely want to try to get to checkmate control. It seems to be for the Subliners Academy roster. You got to think that this really enables what is now your main AR player of Hydra for some reason, but you got to think that might play to their strengths. We'll see if it works out for them.
We're going to be swapping on in checkmate control live on our screens here, and it will be Wester on the offense first. Try to make a set play happen over towards B. It will be a little bit unsuccessful as Temp will be quelled on his initial push. Saint's going to read that Hamza is stuck underneath the wing. We'll find a second elimination, and all things calm from the defensive point of view from New York.
Breeze in the air through this warehouse, maybe, but Wester showing presence through the middle of the map. Player number 2 of Temp is actually going to be the first player to step on that A zone. I like that call. Just push through the A street, create a little bit of a space while Wester try to reinforce the zone.
But the problem is they have absolutely no presence in the middle of the map, and you can see exactly why that's a problem. Saints is able to find the elimination, taking that one Wester player off the zone, which means that now Temp has to come back just to try to stall the clock while his teammates are trying to work his way off spawn. Not exactly the most complete look we've seen from Wester's attack. They will drop, and Saints on 4 in a row has really locked things up early for NYSL.
And now you shave the entire minute off the board, only a tick of progress over towards A. And remember, this is the new patch, right? So we're mostly looking at tick progression when it goes towards that round 5 rather than the overall kills. But we're down to 28 seconds. Subliners Academy are just going to keep Wester trapped inside of their spawn. No real room to breathe, but 20 seconds for Wester to try to make a play.
So they will try to give it one more good college try. It's going to be a lot of focus over towards A, but Hydra and Sparta have already eliminated both Western members in the middle of the map. So even though there are members that are on, the problem is all of these free angles to the middle of the map should be pretty advantageous for New York. But the second tick of progress will be confirmed. Zap staying alive has pushed forward. If you can find the kill on a pro, it would be great. But here comes Saints and Hydra from behind. Saints actually was on 6. Thought that maybe they would try to keep that 7th kill free for him, but he gets caught on the rotation. 3 seconds to play, maybe an opportunity for Hamza to touch. Parasite as well, able to find one. This play's still alive. Hold on a second. It just comes down to how can New York retake this, because 2 members stacked for Wester. They can extend the clock. Hydra comes flying in. He'll drop, but Spart barely able to clear the point just in the nick of time, locking down the first defense for NYSL.
I mean, Shift, you and I personally have seen a round of control reach all the way to 0.0 seconds on the actual bank, and we've seen an offense come back and win it. Yeah. Seen it happen before. I can never count out an offense. That was very doable with sub 1 second left. Zap was in a real tough spot. It's being shot at by 3 different members from Subliners Academy there at the end. Just had to win a very tough 1v1 at about 40 HP. dare you to try that. But still, it's a good round win for Subliners Academy. You deny that third tick to come all the way through. So now what can they do on offense? Looking for the most tick progression if this does go all the way for round number 5. But if you're able to squeak away an offense on checkmate, you're feeling pretty darn skippy.
And Saints is really having himself a game right now. The only thing he'd be kicking himself about is the fact that he wasn't able to lock down that 7th kill for the artillery strike. Working on another set of sprees, though, as he's already on 2 in a row. Looking for Hamza. That'll be good for 3. Barely even taking any damage. Knows that Zap is playing somewhere behind yellow, but Prolit will clear out the base. Now an opportunity for NYSL to start getting on their horses and making their way over to A. And with 2 players already on, decision time for Wester. Are you going to really play for this retake? There are 2 members in the middle of the map, 2 from the front, but as I say that, Spart finds 1, Saints another. Opportunity here for NYSL to get an early 60 seconds on the board, and the kill on Hamza will for sure capitalize on the A zone. It will stall for a second as that last player was eliminated, but no problem. 1 minute and 46 seconds with a 5-life lead for NYSL to try to get their first offense.
Saints is 11-1. Potential to play for streaks here. Prolut finds a good bunch of kills. That's the middle of the map. Completely found by Subliners Academy. And now they're just looking to keep Wester trapped before they start getting this zone control. Parasite's going to be able to take down 1. Saints will lose their life towards the spawn of Wester. So no streaks available again. But what a nice 2 lives coming all the way through as Wester shift their focus for the zone.
Look, again, it doesn't make a difference if you don't have the streaks. If you're winning offense here, you're still going to feel pretty darn good about it.
Absolutely.
Parasite up top. Oh, almost get with collide on the 2 different players at range by the Finn, but he falls. It's actually Spart for a double. Opportunity for NYSL to maybe clear this plane out. They make safe a few trophies, and Hydra finds Zap. Opportunity starting to brew here for NYSL, but 10th, staying resilient, finds 1. The trade will be there, but there is not enough for the Academy to really kind of make their way onto the B side. They're just looking to play for kills at the moment.
Able to do that, slow things down. You still have 50 seconds left to play. Temple finds Spart, and that's just very troublesome. You would love for a couple of spawn kills, but the battle inside the plane will actually be gifted over slightly for Subliners Academy as Zap takes their own life via the Semtex. And now the middle of the map is starting to be a little bit controlled. You just got to worry about Hamza's over here, a little weak, trying to keep their life, and they will be dealt with. So Subliners Academy are able to stop the clock.
But do they have enough numbers to actually make some progress occur here? The live's still a 5-life advantage, but the clock becoming a bit of a problem. Zaptius making his way from the top of the wing, able to find 1 more. He's had a bit of a slow start, but is trying to pick things up, and that's a major way to do it. A little bit of a snap on the Saints. Looked like a free kill initially, but Zap not interested. Able to keep things mixy. 23.8 is where the clock will stall for now. Saints, a number of gunfights up top, none of them favorable for him. Leads to a Wester potential retake. 1 tick of progress confirmed. Zap for 1. Parasite helping for the 2nd. Temp wipes the floor with the 3rd. It's just Prolut who stayed alive, and he's really not in a position to do too much from the flank.
7-6, 8 seconds left. You got to think that Prolut's just got to make a godlike play happen, especially when you got Temp on 3 straight inside of your spawn. It's just not going to come all the way through. Now it's up to Hydra. It actually stops the clock at 3.2 seconds, and that's a pretty darn convincing kill lead.
4v3 situation, have to stay on 0.7 seconds. Oh boy, Subliners are doing it. It's going to be just down to Parasite and Hamza. They're trying to get some nade spam, but Hamza's able to find 1. Parasite can touch. He's got a free angle, finds the 1st and the 2nd. What in the world went wrong there? Hydra's sitting back pallets, doesn't watch outer, and the 2 members that are stacking the point for the Subliners think they're safe, but Parasite has other plans in mind.
I mean, that is just a play that you will lose sleep over at the end of it all. Not watching that 1 outer push that you just talked about, be able to secure that offensive round win. That would have been absolute money for Subliners Academy, who have to start a reverse sweep to feel pretty darn good about themselves taking the offense, but will be Wester that take it away. Still got 5 ticks in total of progression for Subliners Academy. So if we continue to trade defense for defense, it's not a bad spot, but it always comes down to the question, at least for me, for checkmate control. Can someone win an offense as the best look from the 2? But what can Wester do for their second go-ahead?
That's going to hurt. I mean, you do everything you have to do in what was like a 4v7, something of the nature. Get it down to a 5v2. Can't capitalize. Good opening engagements here from the Subliners. Defense has been sturdy, to say the least. It's been a brick wall. And Wester are, you can see them on the minimap, just kind of spread across the map looking for an opening anywhere.
I don't know why the way you said sturdy just really made me feel like a finely built brick house, and it's just
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, it's just like you get the big bad wolf of Wester just trying to break all the way through. It's just so tough when you have the setup and you lose that opening break off. But Wester, they're finally finding a good bunch of kills. Parasite with the Diamati is going to be able to take down Saint. So that's middle of the map, marginally open for Wester, and the A zone will be secured for at least 2 ticks.
Just comes down to, can New York get into a position to maybe contest this? You see players making their way through the plane. Parasite responsible for holding it down, and that kill on a Spart will pretty much mean that the subliners have to chalk. Not enough time to get through if they wanted to, but they really needed that mid angle to try to clear some players off the zone. Not even really able to play successfully through the exits. Wester have already made their way across back now over towards B. Progress is coming very quickly. And even though you do have Zap and Temp who fall, this could still be a first tick of progress confirmed, pending that Hamza is good for the kill on the pro loot. Nixie, but still not going to be good enough to lock down the first tick of progress.
Oh, that got really scary. Wester were winning so many gunfights, and they just kept Subliners Academy trapped over towards that top left corner of the mini-map. But now a little bit of stabilization comes all the way through. Subliners in the bottom part of the plane just want to zone Wester out while they're just so trying to work this A lane and try to get top lane control. Challenge, Zap, shot punch is good, lives with 1 HP.
3 life advantage for Wester, but Subliners are battling for the plane. And so far, they're coming out on top of the engagement overall. Hamza taking some shots lower engine. He will fall. A number of members in yellow that could have dealt with him, but it's Saints who gets credit for the kill. And just like that, once more, the Subliners have really, again, locked things down in the middle of the map. Desperate play from Tent. He gets cut up, no problem. Saints still working on potentially more elongated kill streaks, but does get taken down by Zap, but these 50-50s are essentially inconsequential for the Subliners.
Yeah, you got to find a 3-for-1 trade at the bare minimum to try to work your way through the middle of the map, and even then, Subliners Academy off spawn, they'll have a spacing available with a Krig 6 to be able to deal with those angles, but here comes the push from the A lane. Spart is able to win the one inside of the plane, but still, you're down to 23 seconds. You got to think that this is Wester's last good chance to try to get presence in the middle of the map.
Well, how about it? There's
All
3
right.
kills in a row. Zap has pushed through the A lane. He could read at least where these spawners are going to be trying to rotate through, and Hamza, long-range gunfight, takes down Hydra. Zap another. He's on 3 in a row, keeping his life. Progress at B is not coming very swiftly, but the clock is stalled and the kills are continuing to favor that of Wester. It's an 11v6 situation with 20 seconds on the clock. Second tick of progress on the way and confirmed. The Subliners need to find a way to retake. It's going to be from up top, but there's not a kill to speak of for New York. Spart has to do it all himself, and he nearly does. But as he gets cut up, Wester stacked. They confirm the third tick of progress, and they lock down the first offense.
You have no choice now. You got to win this offense for Subliners Academy. You bring yourself back. That offense that they just had on the first go-ahead was so close, but look at the execution from Wester again. They just slowed up, counted their respawns through so many gunfights. Subliners Academy were just bullying them, and just when I ended up talking about what they needed, a convincing kill feed, they find 3 straight dead. They zone away. They have players pushing towards that back staircase, zoning away towards the spawns, waiting for Subliners Academy to peak, and Wester just stack the zone when it's necessary to close out an offensive round. Subliners Academy truly on their back foot here. It is series point for Wester. They just got to win a defense.
Unreal. Just such a quick swing that comes through, and all of it happens because the plane is just won by Wester. Hydra switching things up. No more AR. He says, no more funny business. Give me an SMG to play with. He finds 2 kills with the Milano, but immediately falls afterwards, and Hamza says, thank you for the cherry blossom. I'll go ahead and put this in my back pocket. Wester's defense still holding on for now. 60 seconds has come and gone off the clock for New York as they continue to posture for a play by B. Proloot up top, looking to open space up in the plane itself. Spart for 1 kill down low. Proloot looking for a second. Him and Saints working together. But Temp for a double. Parasite also getting involved means that Saints is the only player left alive, but maybe that's enough to confirm some progress.
Temp and Parasite are just having themselves a map. They're both at 23 and 19 right now. The only one to really rival them on the opposite side is going to be Saints, who's at a wonderful 22 and 17. And keep in mind, they started this map 11 and 2, but even still, not enough presence to really bully your way on top of one of these zones. They just want the plane control, but these trades are not favorable.
Zap for 2 before falling. Hydra back to a Krig. Not able to lock down any confirmed progress at A. Proloot trying to at least throw some consideration to the defensive mind of Wester, but he really doesn't have to let that consideration last long, as he only finds a single kill and then drops. Next attempt for New York, going to be towards A. Keep your eye on number 2. Temp is going to make a play from behind. No one is going to read this. Temp for 2. Wanted maybe a third, but was running low on ammunition. So now it goes over to Parasite. He's only able to really do a little bit of damage. No kills whatsoever, so the play stays alive. Proloop, the last player to survive the engagement, is working on the second tick of progress. Now help is here. A key moment for Wester. Do you want to play for a retake? 9.6 seconds. If you fall here, it would not be great, but if you win this engagement, you might just win the map, but it doesn't come through. Proloot on 5. He will confirm the extra 60 seconds, and now there's a marginal life lead for New York.
12 to 11, a minute left to play, and they have the middle of the map. Oh, no way. The kills from Wester just start coming all the way through. So now you got to slow things up. I know it's hard to say with a minute left. Hydra gets the info, sees the trophy system just fly across their screen, waits for an easy kill. Now they're pushing in towards the spawn. This could be a pinch. On the opposite side, you got to worry about Temp. Saints deals with it, but you don't have enough numbers to try to flood in towards the middle of the map. Not yet.
But there is some clearance. Wester, are they getting a little bit too cute with this play through A lane? Zap is the player on the flank. Proloot, he will fall. But the information will be known now that for New York, there are players in their spawn. Similarly so, Hydra's trying to do the exact same thing. Lives are becoming a problem here. Temp finds a way to even things up for a time. 6v4 situation. Zapso in the back line has found himself 2. He's also stalling off rotations. The final 3 lives for New York, and they need to get through Temp. Not going to happen here. Not going to happen now. Proloot 1v5. Can't even get the first. Wester lock things down in the control, and they full sweep the Subliners Academy in, let's say how it is, upset fashion, considering how the season's gone so far.
Darn right that it's an upset fashion, especially in comparison to what we saw from, you know, the very unfortunate start for Subliners Academy at the beginning of this stage, and what we saw from them even when the QBZ was still being utilized. Yeah, that was an upset to say the least. And even you could push this narrative that much more. This is what this Western roster looks like when you have former champions on a team that knows what they have to do. They got a weeks left to practice. What do we got to buckle down on? They got the experience now, Shift. They are starting to look dirty.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, look, candidly speaking, we had not even questions. We had concerns about this Western roster when we saw them play in week 2. Wipe those off the board. Clean slate here for Wester. They looked incredible. We'll take a look back at how these first 3 and only 3 maps fared between both of these squads. Dicey through the first 2. 250, 182 in the Garrison hardpoint for Wester's favor. Round 11 would go the way of Parasite. That would be good enough for them to take the Moscow search, and then clutching up the round 3 offense, and then again the round 4 defense. Wester take a 3-1 in the checkmate control to get them into the winter qualifier match, in which I can't say for sure who they'll play, as Built by Gamers and UT Crew have not seen a report yet for the map 3 raid control, but currently it's looking like it would be Built by Gamers in that winter's qualifier, as they're up 2-0 in the series there versus UT Crew.
Oh man, it's just all the different storylines. You look at just from stage 1 to stage 2, and I know that they're different rosters. At least some of them are. You know, the UT Crew roster just got reformed coming in towards stage number 2. Wester's entirely different. Subliners Academy, obviously, they're not playing with Hamza anymore. Now they're playing with Hydra, and it's just so many different shakes coming through from these shark-infested waters. We had that week to practice. Some teams looking better. We had a patch last night. It benefited a few teams. You saw even what Hydra was able to do with a sub in hand, but that's not the role they're trying to fulfill. It almost feels like they're just being held back by some chains, man. I want to see Hydra let loose with that Milano or sub, man. Let it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm in the same boat, I think, overall. I mean, the concerns that we had about the double ARs, who was going to be able to run the first and first and foremost, who was going to run the main AR for
Right.
New York. But beyond that, a number of maps required the second. There's some questions that were immediately answered after week number 1. Week 2 was a flawless week for New York. Now here, some questions starting to crop back up once more, but palm tree power for Wester as they find the 3-0. Now when we get through this first match, we have to mention just one more time, this is double elimination when it comes to this knockout bracket. So New York is still alive. They will play the loser of Built by Gamers and UT Crew right here on this stream next. But we also have to keep in mind that the qualifier matchup in the upper bracket will be happening on the main stream. You can find that right below proper right there, youtube.com/COD Challengers. We'll be going on a bit of a break here while we're waiting to see which matchup we're going to have. So while we're on that break, this is a perfect time. Go over to that channel. Make sure you subscribe. You want to ring that notification bell as well to know where exactly the video feed will be on the COD Challengers channel. And hey, while you're already here, might as well do the same thing here. So we've got a lot more coming up, but for now, we'll step away for a break and come back with the first elimination match as soon as we have it available. Well, everybody, welcome back. Sorry for the delay, but we had to wait for games to finish, maps to get vetoed, and of course, lobbies to be made. My whole shift with me proper. We're getting into the first elimination matchup here between the Subliners Academy and UT Crew. Lose this one, you're eliminated. Win this one, you still have another chance to qualify for playoffs. Proper? Should be a good one coming up here.
Yeah, and it's that little extension, that little breath of fresh air in the double elimination style of bracket here in the knockout day that you might be able to find yourself a little bit of momentum that you still have a match ahead of this before you can qualify for tomorrow. But yeah, this matchup has the workings around for some crazy narratives. I mean, one, again, just to talk about UT Crew is one of those very few rosters coming from stage 1 into stage 2 that have stuck together. They, of course, when you're thinking about Phantoms, they were kind of jostled around with the idea maybe you're going to go play with Western now, while the other three were just kind of figuring out what they should be doing from cup to cup. So they didn't necessarily have the same practice from stage 1 as you would expect going into stage 2, which is why they only finished about 3 and 5 up to this very exact moment of time. But they're slowly finding their strides, and they're starting to look better as the weeks go along.
Indeed. Well, let's take a look at our map set here if we can, just to try to get a lay of the land as far as what this best of 5 will entail. Bit of symmetry, just in a kind of a weird way. Double dose of checkmate to kick things off with the Garrison Control waiting us for map number 3. And if we go into the map 4, map 5, it'll be Raid for both the second hardpoint and the second Search and Destroy. So looking at the checkmate first and foremost here for a team like UT Crew, hey, pretty good news. You're 4-1 overall on the map through the second stage, although we have not seen them play it since they finished off week number 2 versus Easter. But the big thing I'm kind of looking at here as we look over their stats is the fact that when they win, especially when they played up versus Easter and Western, 100-point clubbing Easter, and then a 250-125 up against the West Coast version of the R squads, if you will.
And it's that one that really speaks volumes. I mean, when you're looking at for their past performances, that Easter squad is no joke. We were actually talking about this in the digital green room, if you will, that when you're thinking about a 4-player roster that's stuck together, there's definitely that one that could definitely be said playing from cup to cup. But for these teams that's still really trying to find their profile, we saw a very shaky performance from Subliners Academy and what they were trying to offer in that opening hardpoint. Just in that loss versus Western, and keep in mind that was on Garrison, 250-182. They did lose it, but you saw Spark try to pull out this Crick 6 without a sight on it. It didn't really work out to the same degree as, say, the QBZ did in their hands. And Then when you end up playing like that, then of course, that then falls to Hydra to play that main AR role. And it kind of made things a little bit awkward. I would expect Subliners Academy maybe to make some fine adjustments coming in towards that checkmate hardpoint. But again, this is all speculation because UT Crew, you know how they want to play things out. Phantoms has been lights out as a main AR, coming off the bench from Paris Legion just last season. And it's just been joining the likes with Rex on that AR flex has been absolutely amazing for the likes of Jintroid and Yeast to find a lot of value with subs.
Yeah, it's just one of those things looking over these first two maps, for UT Crew. Obviously, we talked about Checkmate Hardpoint being a favorable one, but it's not exactly unfamiliar terrain for them to go into the Checkmate Search and Destroy at a 2-2 tally,
Right.
in which it was just around 11 loss to be one of those two losses. Their wins, again, pretty steep. Their losses pretty narrow. So a pretty good opening map set overall when it comes down to UT Crew. Obviously, you mentioned the fact that roster-wise have not made any swap-ups, just a bit of maybe miscoordination over the period between stage 1 and stage 2 as far as what this team was going to do, but everyone comes back together. It's been a bit of a weird regular season for them overall, I would say. I mean, especially coming off and being in a position to where you were kind of looking at them as one of the only two rosters to stick together from stage 1 to stage 2 to improve and get better to where they were before, having made playoffs. But that's been not necessarily the case so far. Been a bit of a mixed bag overall for these guys.
Yeah, it really has been. And even just to push it that much further, I wonder how comfortable they actually are. Because you remember Rex when when UT Crew was playing with Sib and Jimbo, it was Sib that was actually running that AR flex role. And then Rex got put into an XM4. And then, of course, that QBZ meta that we just worked away from. And wonder how they're going to fare with the Krig in their hands. Or maybe we might see some role swaps. I'm not too sure. I actually didn't get a chance to spectate, as many did not, for that 0-3 loss versus Built by Gamers, which is why they find themselves here. But a lot of interesting things can be broken loose as far as how this checkmate hardpoint can play out. Again, it is just riddled with long lines of sight. Those lanes can absolutely be a burden when you're thinking about those rotations and even for those holds.
All right, well, let's see how things unfold. We're loading on up to checkmate hardpoint. We expect to see double ARs, double SMGs. Just comes down to, will there be any trickiness with MP5s or Milanos? We've seen a couple been pulled out just in the last 24 hours, actually less than that technically. Prolud's going to get a little bit of information off the opening flash, and the Semtex will connect. Goodness, this execution for Subliners Academy, absolutely flawless. Find the first two, make it 3. How about 4 straight kills for NYSL? And just a little bit of frosting on the cake, they've already flipped the spawns around as well.
One thing to remember is that this is actually a replay back when they faced off against each other in the round robin match. That ended with the side of UT Crew actually taking it 250 to 223. Might be some VOD to go back and talk about. Of course, that will take some more time of the day, but Hydra inside the plane, there's that trickery with the Milano. We saw them do that versus Wester, but what a great execute coming through from Subliners Academy. They're in control of P2 plus the plane.
Yeah, it looks like our names in the actual overlay that we have are a bit backwards here, and hopefully we can pull up the stats as well instead of the player profiles, and we'll be good to go here. But, I mean, good to go is already well underway here for New York. I mean, they're looking clean and crispy. Hydra 4-0, Prolute 4-1. They haven't given up a second of time yet. The second hard point has just opened up, and they're flawlessly executing on it. 57-0. UT Crew setting themselves up in the plane, but it's being watched by Saints, who's found himself an AR to work with. He'll be good for a couple. Will eventually drop, but the pressure has been picked up by Hydra, and maybe a bit of consideration as far as maybe a role swap coming through, because Hydra's pulling out the sub. It's actually Saints with an AR on this map for at least for right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's working. You got to see what it would look like from Hydra just hitting it straight through the plane. And all the way connection for P2. And a UT Crew contesting it from the front. It was not, of course, enough to break those P2 spawns. So UT Crew are right back, or right out of it again. Subliners 82-2. That is so unheard of, but UT Crew, they're going to have to chalk it. They're going to have to set up for the center of the map for this plane. Prolute is just trying to jostle with Phantom, see if they can get this kill, but it's NYSL that are just coming out on top of every engagement, it seems.
92-2. Yeah, I think that you are pretty much in safe waters here to say that. I mean, this is abusive. Unbelievable stuff so far from the Subliners Academy. Now, to be fair, UT Crew doing a nice job soaking up some of the early time here in the third hardpoint, but they don't really have a successful zone to really soak up a large majority of it. So kills are still yet to be determined. Saints staying alive, pre-firing. He read it correctly, but maybe a half second too soon as Yeezy's able to find the kill. And that will mean that UT Crew are now broken over the 20-point mark and doing a nice job of clawing into this deficit on a hard point that you not normally would expect them to.
Again, it's the slow yet subtle W's that UT Crew have to take after such an explosive start from Subliners Academy. Here's Rex finding another 2 inside the kill feed. That's 3 straight for them. And you're just hoping to zone away. Just keep this entire side of the map and the A lane in your favor. Subliners Academy are going to try to take the plane back, and they want to hit it right next to the landing gear.
Well, they're able to contest some of the time here in the middle of P3, but the problem is they do not have any pressure whatsoever over towards containers. So UT Crew, this has been an incredible comeback story for them. You got 4 in a row for Rex. Phantom's just locking down inside the hard point at the moment. Will read Spard coming out from right offside of yellow. Hydra as well with the peak, but wins the gunfight. A necessary one, you would feel like, as we were 92-2. You blink and all of a sudden it's 98-63. So that's a hell of a comeback attempt earlier for UT Crew.
Yeah, absolutely. You turned an 80-point game and just to about a 40-point deficit. That is a nice little bounce back. But what can you do now that you're still holding over towards these close spawns? It's a pretty darn convincing kill feed and a beautiful blue for UT Crew, which means they're going to be looking towards the middle of the map. Player number 6 of Jintroid is actually going to hit this. This could set up a little bit of a spawn trap. They can find a handful of kills. They already find 1, but it's just enough to take the wind out of sails, and Subliners Academy needs some heroics before they can really break in towards the west side of the map.
Well, Spard has the opportunity to hit a route here, but he kind of hits the brakes, mostly because he is running a Krieg. Sees Phantoms at long range, but only able to catch a couple of the shots as Phantoms who returns the favor. And now all of a sudden, you've got UT Crew looking to take the lead after a perfect 2 hard points for the Subliners. These last 3 have completely gone awry. Opportunity, though, here starting to brew as the Subliners Academy will actually get the spawns in the back. Prolute working on another set of sprees as he's on 4. Phantoms has to essentially get the heck out of dodge. And, well, he might actually try to challenge this. And as he does, Hydra from the side finds the kill, and the break is good. 30 seconds still to play in the 5th hard point.
Yeah, so it's got to be a P1 setup for Subliners Academy that off the gate, I mean, Hydra just hits it with a Milano, but now they're finding their strides again with the Krieg. That's their spree put to rest. Pretty good kill feed for UT Crew, means that they can contest this hard point. It's only 15 seconds, but you know that's not time that you not necessarily want Subliners Academy to be able to find. They're going to try to keep them trapped. Nice little corner being played out from Dylan Rex. The middle of the map will be secured. UT Crew not too bad about how that first set of hills started. They are right into this.
Not at all. So about an even game. First hard point opens up in our second rotation. Opening kills good for the Subliners. Is this a little bit of rinse, wash, repeat coming through? As this is, again, a flawless look for right now. UT Crew still spawning where they want to, but pressure is starting to amount. Subliners good for a 1-for-1 exchange. This does essentially zone out the hard point, and Saints pushing forward. He's able to find a couple eliminations. A split spawn situation for UT Crew, but Saints should be able to read it. So much damage confirmed, but no kills to go along with it. And Jintroid somehow, some way, is able to just barely help out Phantom. He's now back into the office. Not able to get the full kill, so even though the Subliners will be stalled from getting the hard point spawns that they want, they do find a lot of time, and they put their lead right back up to the 30-point differential.
Yeah, a wonderful point being said there, Shift, is that they bring the lead right back up, and now you have lurking players like Prolute inside this yellow cargo container. Trophy system will be destroyed. Nice little bait and switch with the trophy system, I guess, from Prolute, but it's not enough to really break on forward. Player number 7 of Rex actually spawns out, so presence here for Subliners Academy as Prolute spawns in. What a break as the hard point pops.
Really good stuff again from the Subliners in these first 2 hard points. Can they get this lead back up to a devastating differential is the real question here. Prolute tagged up. Good help from Hydra on the other side of the map. And UT Crew have been completely empty on this second hard point. Barely even a look at it really whatsoever so far on this map. And looking to be the same thing here once more as, again, the ARs for the side of the Subliners are just doing such a great job of denying any zone. Hydra with a handful, 4 in a row, 23 and 13, running a main AR in which nobody, again, would have expected that a month ago.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, that's just the flexibility that Paco brings to the table, right? It's such a young mind and just so skilled as well as far as Call of Duty standards are concerned to be able to pick up a role and find so much value leading their team in KD. On the opposite side, it is Rex, 22 and 21 now, but as we start rotating over towards the center and the entire west side of the map, this is where UT Crew through the first set of hills really came to life. I mean, they were stringing together a solid 80 points. They're going to have to try to do it again if they have any hopes of coming back inside this hard point.
This is just not a position you want to be in if you're UT Crew, simply because of the fact that you don't have a lot of time to give away here. 203, 128, the tally. Hydra to the hard point. Saints and Prolute cleaning up UT Crew members around the outside. And Hydra at long range, medium range, short range. Doesn't make much of a difference. Finding kills all over the map at 26 and 15. And the Subliners continue to wreak havoc at the third hard point.
I mean, any range, it just seems like Hydra's at the range. 26 and 15, just shooting nukes out of whatever weapon they picked up. And again, that was just such an amazing start. They really set the pace, and then they slowed things right back up. It just has been really all subliners through the second set. The UT crew just trying to find a little bit of life. Subliners Academy say absolutely not. They have the middle of the map plus that A street secured.
Yeah, correcting their mistakes from the first rotation without question.
Sure did.
So UT crew have to be flawless, and not a great start here. Saints, good for 1, good for 2. Last player to stay alive is Jintroy, but he's not in a position to do too much to either contest or alleviate pressure onto the hard point. 239 is where it will stall for a time. Proloot will fall, but Spartan able to pick up where he had left off. And it just comes down to, can anyone from UT crew even get here in time? Semtex blocking the route. Spam shots just because why not? And New York Subliners Academy dominate the first map, 250-130.
Dominated the first two hills, got rocked on the back end of the first set, but then those minor corrections going in towards the second, absolutely relentless pressure. You were talking about all the different ranges of which Hydra was finding kills, and that's exactly what you want, the recipe for success for Subliners Academy. If Hydra is just absolutely frying, that gives an opportunity for the other members for Subliners Academy to play their role. How many times did we talk about Proloot trying to make a flank play? It was coming all the way through. Spart, the AR flex, or it made AR. I don't even know what really the role to be called between those two, but they were just working so well and playing those long lines of sight that it just always seemed that UT crew were down in numbers and they couldn't deal with what Saints and Proloot were bringing to the table as far as flanks.
Yeah, in Yee's Milano didn't really look all that convincing as far as
No.
conversation for the meta. So there's something to also kind of keep in the back of your mind. So, a bit of wishy-washiness coming out of UT crew. You have to give them credit, for the third, fourth, and fifth hard point in our first rotation to kind of reduce that deficit. And at one point in time, take the lead. But that wouldn't happen twice. And that's the thing is, even with this New York Subliners Academy roster, playing around with a couple of different setups, a couple of different looks as far as what weapons we're going to bring to the table. And now, of course, the meta kind of forcing them to have to make kind of maybe a difficult decision in the first place. They're able to correct, and they're not going to make mistakes for too long. That's the kind of big thing overall. You even go back to the match they played versus Wester. Yeah, they got 3-0 swept, but let's be honest, most moments in those three maps were pretty close.
Yeah, I mean the entire map or the entire series was pretty darn close. Even the control where it was ending in a 3-1 was all really close until it really came down to those last few rounds, but in a handful of seconds. But even still, I think it also begs the question, both on the topic of talking about the Milano being overused for UT crew and how subliners were able to actually use that Milano. Where do they use it most? It was inside that P1, depending on whether or not Hydra had died before that rotation came all the way through. But it's just a blender when you're in there. Very close range. That's where the Milano can absolutely fry with its fire rate in close quarters. You got the backup for the 74U right behind you and potentially even a Craig from the side. And that's a really good way of taking control of that play. And that's how subliners were able to get such a dominant force at the beginning of that map. But now we look towards that checkmate search. Again, staying on the same venue, though changing it. Again, you go towards that B site more than Lysol kills germs compared to towards that A site. I can only expect maybe in certain instances, you might see the Milano come out from either side.
What, 99.99%? That we're trying to get at here, brother? That's kind of what we're feeling. Oh, goodness.
Unless it's like a 3v1, you're not going over to that A site. No, that's just an AR lane of just we're throwing shots towards that yellow Carker container.
That's good. I've never heard that before. That's probably one of your better ones. I like that. That tickled me pink. Almost as pink as your shirt. But not quite, because that is pink. It's a deep pink.
I can even tell this is pink. That's how pink it is.
And yes, it's not coming from a colorblind person. I imagine that says a lot. So now we have to kind of focus our attention to the search and destroy overall. Like you mentioned, not often we see the A-bomb planted. We don't see it planted hardly at all. UT crew, though, overall, this is their most played search and destroy. 2-2 overall on the map, 4-6 total in the search throughout the first splits, or pardon me, the first part of the second stage. I don't know why I decided to frame it up that way. But on the other side of things, NYSL Academy have been very good in search and destroy as well. Now, granted, a lot of their wins were coming on Express, but the one time they did play checkmate, 6-1 overall versus Easter. So some things maybe kind of pull from statistically just on what they've done so far in stage 2.
Yeah. And again, it just comes down to AR flexes and what you can do for those cross angles. And if there's one thing that we saw from Subliners Academy coming from the opening weeks, a lot of our questions were how was the small talk? How are they vibing with each other? Hydra's still learning how to speak English as fluently, and I'm sure at the pace of which it's just coming out, just blitzkrieg from these SMG duo of both Proloot and Saints. But even still, What is that going to look like on a map like Checkmate, where those cross angles are all the more important? Where you're
Right.
looking underneath the plane, through the windows of the plane, you can get those nerdy angles depending on the forklift or over on the backside of Finn. There's a lot of cool places that you can find those angles, and that's where the teamwork and the chemistry really has to come all the way through. And again, Shift, that's where I'm really concerned for this UT crew. Again, coming in towards stage 2, that's not the same UT crew that we got from stage 1, where they were just lights out through cups, through all of their practice.
Right.
I really question how much practice they had coming in towards this knockout bracket, given a week off of the end of the round robin play, and what the vibes are like inside this team. Because when we came down to some of those hits for that hard point, it just did not seem coordinated.
No, not at all. I mean, there were some moments in there where they didn't even get a chance to see the hard point, let alone even attempt to break it whatsoever. So we'll see what kind of unfolds. We are trying to join into the lobby at the moment for the search and destroy. We will take this time to remind you that there is still a qualifier match going on right now on the main stream. It's going to be Built by Gamers going up against Western. That one should be a good one. Both teams finding a 3-0 W when it came down to that opening matchup that they were able to take. And so far, as I look over to see the sheet, it's actually Built by Gamers who took the first map 250 to 141.
Yeah.
So BBG playing some hot hard point apparently on the day so far.
Yeah, some pretty spicy hard point. I mean, that's how you know the SMGs of Kismet and Pentagram are really are more than likely frying it. This BBG roster, it always picks up in conversation, at least for me personally, that since we've seen them pick up Pentagram after Cup number 2, leaving higher, that this team of sticking together has continuously gotten a little bit better here and there. Their inconsistencies are still their woes, but this is probably the best that we've seen BBG, and expect them to make a really tight run through even the playoff bracket if they qualify here. But hopping back over towards this matchup, again, one team's got to go home, Shift, and this was just so heartbreaking because UT Crew, again, I mean, you were automatically qualified of what you were able to do through the previous stage, feeling pretty darn good about that. But then you come in towards the shark-infested waters with a team like Easter, for example, or even a very white-hot Built by Gamers, and the competition becomes so much more tough for you to try to win these matchups. And now you find yourself here against the Subliners Academy roster that is still trying to prove themselves as far as roles and all the way up to the main roster, because you got to think that that's got to be an avenue that they're always thinking in the back of their minds.
Yeah, I mean, the top 6 overall in North America were really, really close by the end of the season. I mean, that's where we really kind of paint a picture around Eastern Fantastic Four. The fact that they were able to go 6-1 was incredible. I mean, flat out. It's kind of the same storyline that we were talking about in Europe with Passion. The fact that they went completely flawless through their group stage, remarkable, considering that Europe is also hotly contested. So, yeah, it'd be interesting, I think, to see kind of what unfolds as we get through this knockout bracket. We have joined the lobby, should be ready to go here with our search and destroy, pending the players started up here very soon. So, again, apologies for the delays, but hopefully some of the insight was appreciated. Again, we're happy to have you guys here, flat out. I mean, Challengers needs your guys' support and love. So, if you don't already have both tabs open for the mainstream as well here with the community stream, make sure you do that. Give those guys some love that they very much so deserve, although I know a lot of people are very interested to see what this NYSL Academy team can do. So we are jumping on in. Checkmate Search and Destroy loading on our screens here for us. So we'll swap things over and get ready to go here with the Search and Destroy. The Subliners Academy currently enjoying a 1-0 lead, but UT Crew very resilient, very composed, and very familiar with what happens here in a Checkmate Search.
And again, you're just hoping that you can rely on some of the backings of the Search and Destroy that you're able to bring to the table for UT Crew. That you could say the same for Subliners Academy. It will be UT Crew for offense first. They have worked their way inside this plane for a very quick plant, but here comes the Semtex. It's the first round shift. You got no trophy systems. That was dirty.
This is a strategy that I saw Built by Gamers pull in stage 1, where you just read the information, you get aggressive through A lane, and because, like you mentioned, there are no trophies in round 1, very regularly, they're not there in round 2 either. If you read the play, everyone just tosses Semtex as you turn that into a coffin corner. That's exactly what unfolds. Saints actually got 3 of them. So, big stuff from Saints. You can play for early streaks.
2 with the Semtex, 1 with the 74U. All right. Not a bad start for Subliners Academy. Now, can they continue on with this offense? I like this spread, actually. They're not hitting B initially. And this is so smart. Maybe they might be close enough to maybe just play the time, wait for the information, but UT Crew might just be the one to shut this down. It's going to be Jintroid. Nice little slow peek around the corner. We'll catch Spart off guard.
Yeah, aggressive angle from Jintroid. I don't think that for the Subliners, they would ever have expected the AR to be peeking that aggressively. To be fair for UT Crew, there was help in case Jintroid fell, but now you have to navigate the rest of this offense for a 3v4 situation. And Saints might have to be the one to make a play here because you really don't want Pro to be the first one forward with the bomb. You drop that and the round is pretty much over. Hydra trying to scout things over towards the A wing. Not going to see anything. You have to kind of applaud the diligence here for UT Crew to play so passively, but Saints finds his 4th kill, gets out, and now you can stack back up in the plane and actually get a 3v3 look that progress on this B site.
Oh, Jintroid's looking for that aggressive angle here behind the seat. Oh, it's actually going to force the team kill out from Proloot onto Saints. So they're going to collect the bomb. You can only imagine that maybe the small talk might be coming through that Hydra is over on this A site, catches Phantoms, and now it's just all up to Yeezy in 1v1.
And Proloot actually is playing for the kill, finds the timing just barely. You see the dead body right there. If Yeez gets around the corner, that would have been a very interesting situation, but you'll see the timing here from Proloot's point of view. Just able to grab him before Yeez can find any sort of safety. And really good stuff overall for Saints to find the first kill, and as mentioned, just restack that plane to try to get the hit onto B.
Remember, Subliners Academy, 6-1 versus Easter on this map mode combo. That is a stat line I'm sure is looming in the back of their minds. They are just playing their game and executing it wonderfully. Here comes UT Crew, though, for an offense. Bomb carrier actually not going directly inside the B site. And this I'm seeing as an adaptation. They're just going to hang out behind that south wing and see if they can catch a player in rotation.
Proloot's the sole defensive member for New York up top near on the B site. Jinchard with the bomb down low is hoping for an angle, and well, his timing will actually reveal that Spart is playing deep. They isolate Saints, though, on the A site. Now a 4v3, but Hydra able to clutch up a huge kill onto Rex. Trying to help out his Proloot, gets Jintroid down to a single shot. Spart thinking about it. Does he want to mantle for the kill? Instead wants to play the flank, but UT Crew are actually not in the plane right now. They're all underneath, so this is not going to likely find much more besides just the single kill to tie things at a 2v2 for a brief moment. And now Spart, 1v2 situation as he loses his teammate.
Yeah, and they know exactly where Spart's located at. We're on their back staircase. Map seemingly flipped. Jintroid does have the bomb. You get down to 18 seconds, so you got to stick for this plan. Phantoms will cover their cross. Slow peek from Spart. Not going to do it. That's going to be a round win on the board here for UT Crew.
All right, just talk about the simple fact that UT Crew with the first blood, they don't actually play inside the plane. I feel like New York is probably thinking, oh, they got the first kill, they'll stack and try to make a play towards B. They do the opposite. They stack, but it's not in B, it's down low, and they're able to find a couple of angles. You know that Hydra is going to be caught out somewhere over towards Tetris or Stacks, whatever you want to call it. They eventually get the read that he plays inside the plane, and they get the surrounding kills. Good stuff for UT Crew.
Now, can they continue this and even things back up for their defense? They're actually going to hit this underneath the north wing. Very aggressive stuff coming out from the defense for UT Crew. We'll have to see if they can pay off for a first ball, but Jintroid's already thrown a few shots to Subliners Academy. They're going to hit the brakes and see if they can find an opening engagement, possibly from one of their ARs.
Well, Rex is over towards the A wing. Jintroid playing deep. Initial kill good for Rex. Jintroid another. 2-for-1 exchange favoring the defense of UT Crew. Yeez has not moved an inch yet. Still playing underneath, making sure there is no cross. You see Hydra pushed up pretty far forward. Maybe an opportunity to catch somebody off guard. And that player may just be Yeez. Just comes down to, will there be a read here? Proloot by himself with the bomb. Defensive members all around him. Does get an angle on the Rex, but backs down. 33 seconds still to play.
Got to make this play happen. So little utility to work with here. The defense don't really have to do much of anything, but Hydra might just have to commit towards this flank as Rex checks the A lane. Down to 20 seconds, and you got to think that Proloot and Hydra, they got to collapse on something here.
Well, Hydra tries to make the player on the back. Does get figured out by Yeez, who stayed concealed the entire time bottom plane. Follow-up kill, no problem. 2 for 2 we go. And now UT Crew all of a sudden have really kind of put some pressure on. And yeah, there was that 1v1 that we were kind of flirted with for probably way too long. And then good response from Yeez, knowing that Jintroid's in trouble. Come help him, find the second kill, no problem.
Like that round, I mean, that is just so unfortunate because you saw at Subliners Academy, they essentially just hit the brakes once they got some shots from Rex all the way across from the plane. They didn't want to push all the way through. Hydra was the call to push down that south street and try to get that kill onto Phantoms, which they did, but by then UT Crew had already found the angles from that north lane and inside the plane to get the numbers advantage. Very tough odds to come back from. But UT Crew, again, the bomb carrier not going straight inside the plane. It's just going to be Jintroid that is just playing underneath the landing gear, but Spart for first blood on the Phantoms.
Yeah, great help right there. Saints trying to move forward, had the Semtex ready to go. It's Spart who watches over the top. Now Hydra from the wing for one. Give him a second. Should know the third is. Be careful, Team Nade. That could have laid maybe an opportunity for Rex to work with, but everyone stays alive. Rex will fall. New York convert onto round number 3, no problem.
And it's that aggressive angle over by that A street. The ARs just being able to have that open angle inside of the plane, expecting the push through. UT crew have been taking very aggressive angles. And Subliners Academy, they really haven't been. At the beginning of the round, rather, they changed it up there on the defense. They really pushed through that A street, being able to catch a couple players off guard. 6-3 now for Hydra, 5-2 for Saints. You can see where a lot of the kills have been coming from, at least from the round perspective. But UT crew really keeping it close here, just a 1-round deficit behind their Subliners adversaries.
Aggression from Jin Troy. Does he swap back over to an AR? No, he's going to hold on to this SMG. So him and Yeez, the 2 SMG players for UT crew, will be responsible for holding B essentially from the front. NYSL are going to try to play this around the B wing, in which Rex is going to be responsible for this. He's playing over by Tetris very patiently. Has not revealed his position as of yet, and for New York, they're just kind of waiting for information or intel anywhere to see what we can actually do with this 3-man stack over towards the wing. And, well, Rex eventually reveals himself, and he does so by finding a couple of kills. Prolute looking for the trade will have it, but it results in a 2v3 situation, once again favoring UT's defense.
Got to think that Prolute and Saints, they got to get together here, just try to play for a trade, if not overwhelm. But that B site is really the only one that you're going for. You cannot clear out the back line, but it looks like that Saints was trying to do so, leaving Prolute in a 1v3.
There's a bomb to play with. Not able to find the first kill, though. And you saw what New York was trying to do.
Yeah.
Read information. Maybe we can isolate Rex, but the problem was Rex is continuing to mantle over the top of this box stack by Tetris. Walks away with not just one, but gets a second before dropping. Super important kills for UT.
Yeah, again, you were saying Subliners were looking for the information. UT crew are giving them absolutely nothing. They slowly encroach and right into the awaiting crosshairs. Love that coming out from UT crew, making this all knotted up, 3 apiece. But this little swap up coming all the way through. They knew that it was the A street that gave them such a problem last time. They're actually going to dedicate Jintroy to push all the way through.
I believe Jintroy does see part of Hydra inside tube, but will he recognize that there is a second defensive member nearby? Meanwhile, the bomb the entire time is setting themselves up for a potential hit towards B. There's a trophy system to keep things safe, and Spart from the outside does find Jintroy. So the defense once again prevailing at least early for first blood. Yee's in a little bit of trouble, but is able to stay alive. Should be able to get the regen off, and does. Nearly even a chance at long range with a 74U to find a kill onto Spart, but could not fully connect. Neither could the Semtex. And Yeez has the bomb. Well, he's looking very dictatively towards A, but I don't know about that play.
I don't know if you're going to be able to get over there. You can see where Prolute was immediately looking for that cross. You also got Saints inside the yellow card container. 24 seconds, and you got to make this play count here.
He's trying to sneak around the back. Plan will be foiled, leaving Phantoms down to now a 1v3. No chance to get anything going. Time was also going to be a problem for him. And so defense holding strong so far, really for both squads. Haven't seen a bomb go down yet for a plant. So something to keep in mind that if you're going to win offense, maybe it's just in the backside of just playing quickly.
I think we saw just a quick plant get snuffed out in the first round, but other than that, no, not at all. It's just
right.
Two teams just throwing bows at each other, just trying to find the information. The team that tries to move too far forward first, that angle is typically covered by the opposing team. But something's got to budge here. This back and forth affair. Offense for Subliners Academy. They will dedicate, what is that, Saints towards the plane. Prolute with the bomb is getting rather aggressive underneath the south wing.
But he was trying to stay safe as Hydra was supposed to be watching over him. But as you see, he falls for first blood. So again, the defense setting themselves up for early options and potential success with these first bloods. Spart now taking over where Hydra had left off, but he's going to have to essentially wear 2 hats at the same time here. He doesn't just need to be watching over Prolute. He also has to make sure he's watching the opposite lane in some form. Rex again playing over by Tetris, just trying to find information. Does get tagged up. Prolute with a little bit of space. Finds Yeez. And Rex backing down. More important than we can mention, at least at the moment. The hit could potentially still come through to B. Jintroid peaks, but wins the gunfight. We go to another 3v2 favoring the UT defense late in the round.
Oh, Prolude's gonna hit this. Jintroid's weak. Rex from the opposite staircase has the angle, and Prolude gets out with their life plus the kill. Now a 2v2. Smart is trying to make a play happen. Has Rex tagged up. They would really love to find this kill. They just have no idea where Phantoms could potentially be located at. Challenge will be there and smokes him around the corner.
Rex, did he run out of ammunition or thought he had the kill and laid off the trigger? One of the two. I mean, he had Smart dead to rights. And now Phantom's by himself, 1v2 situation. Has to know that Spark could still be lingering around the backside of this exit staircase. But with a Krig, he's going to have to push forward. Prolude up top will be the one to take care of him. And New York now up 5-3. One more round to find a significant edge in this first elimination round.
The tug of war finally starts shifting, at least in one team's favor. Shift, here we go, map point. Subliners Academy. What can UT crew try to adjust against what Subliners Academy have been able to find a lot of value in? And you just look at the streaks in between Prolude and Spartan, and it's just in the aggressive angles. I mean, Hydra is right there trying to cover the crosses. As we have a end towards the map, 5-3. We'll make sure that we note on that as we try to figure out why we're coming back to us.
Not 100% sure.
Anybody lag out? I didn't even see, actually.
It may have been a scan repair situation. There were a couple of New York players that were turned around, kind of looking to see what's happening with our homie. So with that, again, not 100% confident on what's happening. The lobby is still fully populated at the moment. So not 100% sure what's happened, at least for now. While we're waiting, though, making sure everything's all good, set up, and ready for us, let's just go ahead and toss things to an intermission screen real quick, and then we'll figure out what exactly is happening with our players, either through DMs or something of the nature. So we'll step away for just a small break, and we'll come back right after this. We're jumping back in. Clarification, Phantoms was stuck on the map, which would explain why he was not moving for part of that round. So we'll go to a 4-3 tally here, favoring Subliners Academy, and as they try to get aggressive with Hydra pushing through the A lane, it's Yeez who finds first blood.
He's just playing the corner, just waiting and expecting a push through, come through from A. I don't think Hydra's done that a single time. But now it's an advantage for the defense. Now in a 2v4, Subliners are seemingly a trap. Spart's going to be inside the plane while Prolude looks to hit the A street.
Jintroid for the second kill. Prolude now by himself, 1v4, playing around A. Might have an opportunity to find the first for free. Yeez is looking for the trade. Prolude does not get the regen, though, and eventually UT crew overwhelmed. So that gives us a 4-4 tally overall, and I need to write this down before I forget.
I have it written down. We're good. We're good. We're good.
All right.
We're good. It's like my little tallies coming all the way through. Yeah, 4-4. Switching sides yet again, and Hydra just try to make a play happen through that A street. It did not work out. Maybe trying to find a coverage. I didn't even see what weapon they had, but I got dropped so fast. Just easy, just playing a very aggressive angle over by that A street. Easy numbers advantage. Prolude was the only one to find a kill within that round. Now UT crew potential to put themselves up on map point. Gotta be looking for that immediate plane control. Here comes Easy with the bomb carrier.
And how about this from the Subliners? Three-man stack over to A lane, and that's actually not bad for Jintroid to even find one, because now all of a sudden there are no Subliners in the plane itself, and they're gonna have to retake the plane. Yee's good call will just stick for a bomb plant early on in this 3v3. I don't know how you retake this. This is gonna be so difficult on Subliners. Hydra's gonna have to make a play forward, and as he does, he wall bangs and does find Yeez. Oh my goodness, the awareness. Somebody check his Moss files. That was unreal.
We're gonna Periscope on Paco's
What
PC.
in the hell?
Hydra snapping. Hydra knows exactly where you're located. I mean, it's a pretty standard place for an SMG just to be lying in wake, but Hydra's just not gonna hop on top of it as the rest of the players just swarm around for the kills. But whoa, that was weird looking.
What? I mean, common spot or not, you have to retake this plane, and just to spam through it, incredible. And then to get this read, I don't know if Spart sees something, which is why Hydra peeks this. I have to imagine he probably does, playing from the plane wing. That is an unreal double from Hydra. Saves the round for sure.
Yeah, Hydra's pretty good at this game. I wonder if a pro team like the CDL might be able to look at him sometime. I don't know. Pretty talented kid. But now we have ourselves a 5-4 lead. Map point here for Subliners Academy and an opportunity to put themselves up 2-0 in the series. Here comes a push. Prelude is actually inside this plane, just so aggressive. Keep in mind you that it's normally Rex that has been playing an aggressive angle, but it's only just Jintroid here for now. On top of the desk, they have a trophy system to keep them safe.
Patient play from the Subliners. Met with equal amounts of patience from UT Crew. Long-range gunfight between Phantoms and Hydra. It goes the way of UT Crew. Again, the tally currently 5-4 after the restart has come into play. So must-win rounds from here on out for UT Crew. Jintroid able to stay safe by way of trophy, but feels the pressure and backs down. And as he does, Prelude, he kind of takes the same position, and he's going to get this bomb planted. The Semtex that came through defensively was not denied by a trophy by the look of it, but it's not going to make a difference. Retake opportunity will be quelled by Semtexes. Rex. Oh, he misses Saints. That's tough timing for sure. Big elimination, 3v3. Prelude in the plane, though, can't find anything. No trades. Jintroid finds Spart. Just down to Saints. Comes over the top of the ladder. Finds the first. Not able to get the second. And sticking for the defuse was Jintroid the entire time. That'll send us to around 11.
Phantoms was dead to rights. He had like 10 HP. There's no reason why he should have lived there. It's insane help coming through for UT Crew. And again, retaking the plane, we cannot stress it enough, is so hard to do with the positions that you are given in a post-plant situation. But 2 times over, we're seeing the bomb planted inside of B, and the setups have been broken by both of these teams. Round 11, UT Crew will have the offense. What they're going to end up doing, going back to the strategy of playing around the south wing. 3 players are here. There's not a soul inside the plane for UT Crew.
Well, they do have the ability to play for the wing, though, so they'll be all right to get in when they need to. He's underneath, still holding this position down. Phantoms up top is just looking for a challenge. Will not be awarded one. And Jintroid is the one with the bomb, so it's going to have to be the SMGs clearing space for him to even get into a bomb site, let alone plant it safely.
Again, just so wise. Both teams on defense. In such a crucial round, just keeping their lives from their main defenders, looking at B, just giving it up down to 45 seconds. And UT Crew trying to find this space, but it's a nice little flash check. And NYSL Academy, they're sitting here, they're waiting for them to walk into the blunder.
Prelude gets 2. Rex now has to move forward. Bomb down on the ground, 33 seconds. Saints will see Phantoms, but the gunfight just stalled for now. Prelude looking for his 3rd kill. Not going to have it. No trade available. Hydra down low. That should be a free kill on the Phantoms as it is. 1v2. Rex needs to clutch this. Round 11. He's going to find the first on the Hydra. 13 seconds to play, and Saints has read him on the backside of the wing. Comes up top, wins the gunfight, and New York take the round 11 to go up 2-0 in the series.
Oh, man, that got real close there. That had a chance to be able to close out that fight. Again, Rex with a crucial gunfight inside of the plane, then was able to keep their life. But I tell you, that search and destroy was competitive, to say the least. A lot tighter than that hard point, for sure. And you see Crew, again, when it comes down to checkmate and you're thinking about what they could end up doing, it's mostly that AR lineup that you're considering for holding those long angles. And they were getting aggressive. And quite frankly, that was almost like dirty boxing coming from them with the angles that they were holding. It's so aggressive underneath the plane wing, the landing gear, whatever the heck you wanted to decide to call it. But also inside the plane with Rex, just such a heads-up play for them. But this NYSL Academy roster, a lot of backbone for search and destroy. They know what it takes to adapt. They know those little trickery corners that they can end up trying to find as far as an opportunity. And they work those first bloods, and they just are able to finesse a little bit too much for UT Crew to hold on.
Unbelievable. So that means New York, a single map away from getting to the lower qualifier. Up top of the upper bracket, built by gamers who was up 2-0 against Wester, have been defeated in the checkmate control, a convincing 3-0. So a 2-1 series there. They're going to a checkmate hardpoint. But for us to go back and take a look at our best of 5 overall, we've gotten through our checkmate for the series. We'll go to a garrison here for the control coming up next for map number 3. If we could take a look at those maps. There we go. And then we'll have raid for map 4 and map 5 if required for us.
And control is just not favorable at all for UT Crew. They're 2-6 overall through stage 2. On Garrison, they've played it 3 times, of which they've only won once, and well, that was against Higher. I mean, they went to 5 rounds versus Ario or Rise to, and I don't know why I'm just so glued to that as well. But they lost to Fantastic Four on this map mode as well, even 3-0 the last time that they played against this NYSL Academy roster. But for Subliners Academy, again, when it comes down to Garrison, it's always a question of what will we see from the opening break, even from that hard point too. What a curveball from Hydra on that checkmate hard point that they start off with the Milano. Who's stopping them to do that so aggressively on the rip for defense or offense for Garrison? If you can just gain so much control over towards Catwalk initially for the offense and start that double tick progress, that's where offenses are truly won on Garrison.
That's for sure. Unreal. We have gotten some search and destroys today, brother. That's 2 hectic round 11s that we've had in our back-to-back games. Unbelievable. But coming up here for this Garrison control, again, not great news for UT Crew. And I feel like it's kind of hard-pressed for us to sit there and just kind of take that at full value and sit there and say that that's going to hold true as well now that we have a new meta. That's the whole thing, is it's a brand new meta. You mentioned the fact that the Garrison hardpoint, when we saw New York play this before, not great for them overall. A little bit of trouble trying to get those ARs working. Will that be maybe a consideration in your mind coming forward for the control here for New York trying to put this one away in 3?
Yeah, it just comes down to what role is being fulfilled, I guess, in between both Spart and Hydra, right? I mean, are you going to try to get a little bit freaky with it, with the no red dot on the Krig and just try to run the tac flak? I mean, like, it's possible, right? They tried to do it in, what was it, the Garrison hardpoint versus Wester. I wouldn't say to absolute no value whatsoever. They were frying with it, but they weren't coming out on top of enough engagements for it to absolutely matter. And then they were also holding back Hydra trying to play that main AR role. But I think it's got to be a consideration if you are a fan of the Subliners Academy roster. And hell, even for them as a 4-player team, on what do you do going in towards Garrison? What role are you trying to fulfill?
Yeah.
And I think coming into that checkmate hardpoint, they really had a lot stern talking between those 4 players of what the opening breakoffs are going to be looking like in that respawn. I think you got to really trust Hydra with that Milano off the rip and just see what they could do, man. Let them fly.
Yeah, that's kind of a big key, I think, when it comes down to a team that we came to know and for some love when it came down to what they've done so far in the Garrison, or the control rather, I should say, Garrison included, but what they've done on control, it's been very quick, efficient movement across the map.
Yeah.
Now, that said, it's been a while since they've played Garrison. In their first week, it was not a great map for them overall. But they started to pick things up, and a lot of it was because of the speed adjustment that they were able to kind of find a way to work with the double QBZ. So, I don't know. There's interesting conversations, but we just cast. We're not coaches. We can sit here and speculate all day long. We can't presume to know what's going on inside.
We have fun trying to pretend to be an analyst or a coach. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. But what's funny about that last Garrison control that was played for Subliners Academy? It was a 3-0 versus UT Crew. So I don't know. I mean, you take it for what it was. Take it for what it is, but then they mostly played checkmate. But yeah, I think that's a rightful point to bring up about the pace and the change that we saw from week number 1 in round robin when they dropped triple SMG and they started working around the AR flex. NYSL Academy started becoming more comfortable, but UT Crew, I mean, this is a very quite literally do or be eliminated situation for them. They got to be able to find their strides, and this SMG duo of Yeezy and Jintroid just have simply not looked the same. I don't want to see a full map of Milano coming through again.
Right.
Did not stick in that checkmate hardpoint. Just try to stick true to your guns. Get those double Krigs working, because if Phantom and Rex are working in tandem with one another, it makes Yeezy's and Jintroid's life so much easier.
All right, we'll see if those things could unfold. I think I'm tending and prone to agree with you here about especially the Yeez not really having a series, at least as of yet, through these first 2 maps. Would love to see them come to life here. And, well, just as soon as we call his name, he tries to make a play through the middle of the map. New York splitting things up a bit, and, well, first blood will be confirmed. New York already on the B zone, and with that kill on the Yeez, there's not a lot of opportunity for them to surround this. And how about Saints? He's going to try to run right through, nearly snaps onto Yeez in the end, but he will be dealt with, and UT Crew will deplete the first tick of progress that was starting to be worked on for New York.
And there's Hydra again, off rip with the sub in hand, just hits it and continues to run towards whatever they possibly can. Now they have an opportunity to try to stop the progress over towards A. This is a lot of trust for the other players of Subliners Academy to win this fight in the middle of the map. Easy is able to close out on 2. Now Dark Control is theirs, and it's really just Hydra over on this Cobble Island is just going to touch A to keep the clock stopped for as long as possible.
And to be honest, he actually needed to be sitting on there a little bit longer. I mean, for NYSL, they were trying to get their way out of spawn, and the clock has been ticking this entire time. Outside of a couple of footprints that Hydra left on the A zone, there really wasn't much pressure whatsoever. But they do have an exit to get through dark, do the subliners. And with this, a couple of kills come through very quickly. So an opportunity for them to now stall the clock and maybe make some progress. But Phantoms up top has stayed alive, if not just barely. And that will provide an opportunity for UT Crew to try to recontest as they're trying to come through lights. Gintroid finds one and keeps his life. Semtex on the way in will force Yeez out. But for the subliners, they still are having a bit of a problem getting onto the zone, let alone capturing a single tick of progress. Gintroid considering the challenge. Maybe going to wait for a little bit more help before he makes the actual go call. Semtexes will be there for the assist, but he will not be able to keep his life. So now it turns to Phantoms to try to do some work on the zone itself, and he will once again be cut down. Rex, last player left alive for UT Crew, also going to come up empty, and now all of a sudden a second tick of progress is through, and New York has an opportunity to actually open up an extra 60 seconds to play with.
And Hydra still has a sub, so they're going to try to zone away on lights. I wonder, yeah, UT Crew absolutely just got to give it up. Maybe you try to contest it one last time. Gintroid hits it, is actually able to find the 2 kills. So now we're down to 5 seconds. You got to stop the clock, and it seems that Proloot will step onto A, stopping it at 4.7.
Saints through lights, though, not going to find the kill under Rex. Opportunity here for UT Crew. Pending they can get rid of Proloot, they should be able to kill off this time because Rex wins another 1v1 into Hydra mid-mantle, and there goes Proloot. And with that goes the chances of New York subliners finding a zone, let alone an offensive round.
I got the 2 ticks of progress, though, and that has to be annotated again because of the change that happened for Control. It's the tick progression for that round 5 rather than the kills now, Alan, so we'll make sure that we will take a note of that. And remind you it continuously like the broken record that I am. So for Subliners Academy, though, again, they answered my question as far as what are they going to do on that opening breakoff, right? Hydra hits it with the 74U, and then they tried to influence that continuously. It was a single AR setup. And who was that single AR? Well, it was Spark. They're 8-6 coming away from that round, just trying to play those long angles while both Hydra and Saints came up absolutely empty on trying to push all the way in towards the spawns of UT Crew. Now for an opportunity, UT Crew, hey, if they can continue to win these gunfights and just being able to stack together, they have a really good opportunity to influence the middle of the map early.
Detroit? Good information on where Hydra's positioned, but the problem is there was not enough help to keep him safe from top green. Proloot even finding another elimination before he falls, and the trades will favor the defense of New York for now. Spart is playing aggressive. He's got a Krig, remember. He will find one elimination, but he will not get away with his life. So that's both ARs currently down for the subliners. Maybe an opportunity here for UT Crew to use that and move their way forward. He's doing his due diligence to make sure that no trophies can be pesky for any incoming nade plays. He's also trying to get aggressive onto Saints, but falls, and that'll be a big 2 kills for Saints to help the subliners grow some legs defensively.
Still trying to get presence over in top green. It's going to be Phantoms on board with them. How long are you going to be able to keep your life? Again, you're trusting that the players coming off a respawn will be able to deal with the players in and around caution, but Proloot, you're able to find at least another kill, so that's going to stop UT Crew in their tracks as Phantoms also goes down. For this player forward will be Dylan Rex as they get handed a swift death. We are sub 30 seconds for UT Crew to try to make a play, and they're down 5 lives.
Yeah, 2 convincing defenses so far, maybe arguably more convincing for New York thus far.
Yes.
Especially if they can find a way to capitalize on this positioning, but careful. If everybody falls here, there will leave a big gap that UT Crew could maybe even take advantage of and get out back onto this B zone, but easier said than done for sure. Hydra for a couple. Saints here to help clear the middle of the map. And it was just Rex that was trying to be annoying over by B. He gets dealt with. No chance for UT Crew to touch anywhere else. That will mean that we'll go defense for defense through the first 2 rounds with a slight advantage for the subliners off the lives.
And Hydra is on 6 now. So going in towards this upcoming round, potential to play for streaks depending on how this opening breakoff plays out in subliners' side. But You know, having those streaks, even if you do lose this upcoming round, that is an absolute barn burner when you're thinking about trying to take that A zone. It is quite literally out in the open. When you call that artillery strike, it traps them all inside a cobble, inside a top green as well. We've seen a lot of good executes, and quite frankly, a lot of poor ones too, all the way up to the CDL level when it comes down to streaks and executing it on Garrison control. But the opportunity still presents itself here for Hydra. Started off the last offense with a sub. This time they got a Krig.
Passive setup, not even really putting a lot of energy over towards top green at all initially. New York looking for kills, maybe trying to bait UT Crew to playing a bit more aggressively defensively than what we saw from before. And how about it? Prolute sneaks up top, finds a couple of kills. And there's another defensive member over here at IA. If they could find this kill, there's an opportunity to actually double stack this for at least a tick of progress. Yeez needs to make a decision, and he will decide to try to push forward. He falls 6 and 15 for Yeez. We needed to see him play big. He's barely shown up whatsoever. Second tick of progress gone. Prelude on 4 won't find the 5th. The trade is there. Hydra now able to help out, but it's Gintroid from behind. He's able to clear the zone just in the nick of time, and everything comes to a bit of a calm for UT Crew for now.
Yeah, so you stop the total secure of A zone, but you also take down Hydra. So those are the streaks. You can't play for those anymore. Didn't even get the artillery strike online. So now you're feeling better if you are UT Crew. But look at the way that NYSL Academy off their respawn are just playing through the middle of the map, waiting for the respawns, keeping all of UT Crew trapped over by that shipment square, and stopping that clock at 43 seconds on the B zone.
Good eliminations, though, for the subliners over towards this B zone. First tick of progress on the way, but Phantoms keeps things interesting by finding the first kill. Can he find another? No. Denied the chance, but Yeez trying to keep his weight around the ring. Him and Gintroid working back forward. Second tick of progress confirmed. Third, maybe on the way, and Hydra gets caught swapping weapons. Now Spart the next one forward. Gintroid's down low. Gets the regen, tries the mantle up, denied. Opportunity for an extra 60 seconds. A minute 42 will be on the clock to capture 1 tick of progress, and Prolute is already here with the help and safety of a trophy system. Yeez gets completely snapped on, ankles broken, thought he had the jump on Spart, not to be. And NYSL take the first offense in convincing fashion, now up 2-1.
Oh, it's just so tough, right? Now you find yourself in a situation where you gotta find yourself an offensive round win to push it towards a round 5. And here's the scary part, Shift. For UT Crew, on the opposite side of things, they didn't give it a single tick of progress on that first round for offense. So even if it goes to a round 5, they have to win back-to-back offenses. And that says something with the lack of slaying that we're seeing. You talked about Yeez in the middle of that call. Shift, they're 8 and 18. Those are just things that cannot happen when you have players like Spart, 20 and 11, Prolute, 16 and 10. They made that play happen over towards A almost single-handedly with a sub in hand. That is the X factor that UT Crew are missing.
On Spart on 6, finds maybe an opportunity to get a 7th. You see so many low health pulls in front of him. He's actually been able to earn streaks based on the progress he found on the A zone prior, so it doesn't even make a difference if he gets 7 or 8. Which is typically the number you're looking for kill streaks, but he finds the 7th and the 8th anyways. Why would he not? Saints all over the middle of the map in New York, looking good to be able to put this map away, pending nothing incredible happens, but you hear the hesitation in my voice. UT Crew have done much more from much worse positions before.
Yeah, you see Spart standing still. That means the streak is definitely going to be called in. Where's it going to end up going? But UT Crew, they stop the clock marginally over by the B zone. These reinforcements got to get here sooner rather than later, but they are being zoned away over by the P4 hill and top green. NYSL Academy just have UT absolutely choked and pinched out.
And, you know, it's just important to note, Spart has given up playing off the iron sights with the Krig. No more finessing with the loadout. Much more standard, and it has paid off in a huge way. 25 and 12, 26 objective plays. Hydra now starting to streak, finds 5 in a row. Put him to bed. UT Crew about to be eliminated in 3, 15 seconds to make something happen, and they are stuck in spawn. Cruise missile coming through. Yeez has already left the party. A series he'll try to be forgetting before they have to go through the stage 3 qualifier. NYSL Academy. Talk about the recovery after being 3-0'd by Wester. They send that same medicine to UT Crew.
Oh my goodness. Just, I mean, the search and destroy was close, but that control just got filthy. I mean, yeah, you talk about how Sparta is finally giving up the Iron Sights and the Crick 6. Again, not as potent. We talked about at the end of the Western matchup comparatively to the QBZ, but playing lights out there with Hydra and two ARs that are able to do so much. You saw how little influence it started off with the opening rip. Triple SMGs didn't work out. Let's go back to what we know we've been practicing, that 2-2
Right.
setup. Absolutely blitzkrieg. And plus, it cannot go unnoticed, too. That offensive push would not have happened if they just were playing for Hydra streaks at the very beginning. UT Crew had no idea what was going on, so they tried to make a play happen, and then Prelude capitalized on that. That push over towards that A zone was just so massive, and UT Crew was just seemingly playing from behind from that little engagement going forward.
It's one of those things that we kind of look across the map at different checkpoints when it comes to both the offensive POV and the defensive POV. And on that specific round that you mentioned, UT Crew was never in the middle of the map. It
Correct.
was one play from Yeast trying to work around the back, but you got a little bit finessed. So a massive bounce back for the Subliners Academy. They stay alive with playoff hopes. They'll have to play through the lower qualifier, but before we really frame that up, let's take a look back at these three maps just in case you missed any of them. My goodness, absolutely tight affair through the search and destroy, but respawn abound for the Subliners Academy. That is a massive statement because that was where they were largely missing versus Wester. Talk about maybe some weirdness in their setups, weirdness in their loadouts. They go back to a more tried and true orthodox setup, and it works out in a major way for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when you take a look at some of the different tricks that Subliners Academy tried to pull, it was not as long lasting as UT Crew. And maybe the Milano all the way through the hard point of checkmate was working in scrims, but his Subliners Academy squad, again, they are determined. They really got something to prove here that they are that top contending team. And again, you got to think about that route, that little extra oomph that they want to really make it back in the league. You can say that about both the sides, but this NYSL Academy, they have that direct avenue being a part that lower tier team compared to the CDL roster. But even still, I gotta tip my hat to that New York roster again, coming off of that Western loss, especially on that checkmate control. Man, did it look like a night and day as far as what they were able to do, the kills, the velocity that they were just denying the map continuously against UT Crew. I mean, that is the workings all the way through these three maps that we saw compared to that winners round one. That the Subliners roster is the real deal.
Oh, without a doubt. And one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are looking at them to potentially be favorites in this North American region, even though they find themselves in the lower bracket, there's some, work to be done. But we'll see what happens overall. Just to give you an update as far as what else is going on the mainstream. You're not gonna want to miss this. Winter qualifier, built by gamers, come out the gates steamrolling Wester. 250, 141, and then a 6-1 search. But Wester win the raid, or probably the checkmate control and the checkmate hard point to send it to a raid search and destroy map number 5 with potentials of a reverse sweep in the cards. That is all we have to really kind of go off of right now. So we're going to say farewell for the evening and for stage 2 overall here on the community stream. It's been a pleasure having you guys with us. I'm glad that we're able to kind of give you guys more looks across the Challengers Elite stage, but that concludes things. So coming up next, the winner for the BBG and Western game, they qualify for playoffs. The loser then has to go up against this New York Subliners Academy roster for a last chance to get that fourth and final spot in the North American Elite playoffs. Proper final thoughts from you before we say farewell.
What do you even want to face if you're Subliners? You just lost 3-0 to Western. This BBG roster is looking hot. And not even just the pink, but just hot in general. I mean, they're nasty today, but I don't even know what you do. But again, at this point, you just got to continue to play the game that you know that you came to do here in stage number 2. Roster swaps and role swaps included. This top 6 now whittling down to top 4 for that playoff bracket tomorrow has really never looked more competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, even for Europe side of things as well. This Passion roster, although going through the group stage at a clear-cut flawless, are still not out of the woods yet. There is so much competition between these two regions. You got to be able to tune in tomorrow between both with the mainstream to be able to see the conclusion for these two regions. It's so much fun.
Don't miss it. I believe it's a 2:30 p.m. Eastern start time for Europe tomorrow, and then 6:30 p.m. Eastern for North America tomorrow. But hey, there's no way that we can host or raid or anything like that, so get on over to the main channel, youtube.com/COD Challengers. We'll see you there in the chat. And until the stage 3 qualifiers, we say farewell. Have a wonderful night. Until next time, make sure you guys keep holding it down. So long.